All righty. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. All righty. Mic check 1 2. All righty. There we go. All righty. Let me get this all squared away here, ladies and gentlemen. There's that. If I can get this going. Gotta go there. There's that. There's that. That one. Let's see here. Well, why is that not working there? What up, everybody? I'm just trying to get this invite thing to work right. All right. So that part worked. What up, everybody? Well, jeepers. It's like my entire screen is frozen. All right, hold on. Try one more time, bartender. What up, Support Gaming? Ah, there we go. Don't know what was happening there. Boy, oh boy. Yeah, I know I was late. Had some other things kind of pop up. So I do apologize. Thanks for hanging in there with me, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for hanging in there. Shout out to JS Guy Code. How you doing? Decimy, Sam Ash, the True 49. What's happening? Let's see. Yeah, I did invite the special guest, E1 Matador. How you all doing this morning? Or this evening? My goodness. Let me get my head going. So, Sony talked with Cdprojectred. Well, yeah, they did talk. They're talking. I'm just gonna leave it there. They're talking. They're having a cup of coffee.
All right.
And hopefully got the special right here.
Craig, what's going on, my brother?
What is happening? Sorry, I am late. Had some things kind of pop up here.
No problem, man. No problem.
Oh, thanks for hopping on. It was short notice. Well, brother, how's your day been?
Very entertaining. Very entertaining.
So what is going on? What's the big news? And first things first, how is your family doing?
Everybody doing good, man. Thank you for that. Everybody doing good. I can't complain.
Heard that. So shout out to everybody here. Guys, we are joined by the one and only J-Dub City, Mr. Concrete Genie himself.
Facts.
So how's that working? How's that game going?
Beautiful game. Great game. You guys, it's only $30. Go pick it up. You can play it standard or you can play it on the VR. It's HDR and HDR enabled. And man, the colors in that game is just second to none. A great looking game. And I was telling people, man, if you ever seen that Into the Spider-Verse, that Spider-Man, I always forget the name of it, but I know my kids watch it almost every day faithfully. But that game has those type of the art style.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that's a good movie. That's a lot of people's Into the Spider-Verse. That's a lot of people's favorite Spider-Man movie. I thought it was good though. So yeah, fun to watch. So yeah, I was late. I was helping a friend of mine outside. She was moving in, and we just kind of got stuck, kind of where the couch and the door was, and so we had to kind of back everything out, and that just went over. I was like, "Geez, guys, I got to get in here. They're gonna be ready to send a lynch mob after me." So, So yeah. So yeah. All right. So what's the big news of the day? I saw the podcast where D Batch got his legs busted.
Oh, it was glorious. You just don't know, Craig, but for months
Yeah.
I've been arguing the homie D Batch, aka L Batch. I've been arguing him down. He thinks or he was reportedly, he said multiple podcasts that the Scarlet would have hardware ray tracing and the PS5 would have some kind of Navi light. It would have a software ray tracing. It would be less powerful. And so, and no matter what kind of conversation you have, some kind of way the PS5 always ended up being a lot weaker.
Right.
And all because this generation, the OG Xbox, kind of burnt a hole in these guys' underwear, and they just refuse to admit that we just don't know which system is going to be more powerful on paper.
Right.
We know which one is going to be more powerful when it comes to the games. So right now the narrative is, let's not talk about the games. Let's not talk about the stuff that matters. Let's talk about power. Because obviously power is winning MPD. Power is winning everything else, right?
Right.
That's what a lot of people think. Or at least a lot of Xbox guys love to believe, in their own little bubble. So I've said it multiple times. I hope the Scarlet is more powerful than the PS5, only for that same satisfaction for us to end up in the same place that we are now.
Yeah, they you all gave him the blues. I mean, I tell you, somebody else who took it across the face was everybody's favorite Mr. Speculation, Mr. Jack Reacher himself, Matt's Gaming. Boy, oh boy, yeah, he just did a video a couple days ago talking about Navi 20 and Navi 10. It's like, man, they gonna have hardware ray tracing on it. I ain't worried about it. They just don't have and Lisa Su, who is now president, who was named she's CEO, and then she's been named president of what you call it, AMD. So, yeah, so if things go left, she's gone. I mean, that's what I can say. So he was trying to say today that find the video, where I said that. I'm like, you just did a video talking about Navi 10 and Navi 20.
Again, in any of these conversations with these guys, right? And notice it's only the diehard Xbox guys that are saying this crazy stuff. They don't know, but they have rumors, and when they hear a rumor, they add more to it. And some kind of way, the PS5 always end up on the bottom end of that without any information. So if D Batch, again, he got his legs beat in. The whole team mollywopped him and into submission. And it's just, people just need to take a wait and see approach before you to go out and make all these podcasts and make all these videos stating something like it's fact without finding out. And another thing, Craig, it's a lot of these guys nitpick every single information, and it's sad that Mark Cerny had to come out and tell these guys, look, this was like not even a non-starter. Just because I didn't tell you everything in the precise words that you wanted to hear it in does not mean that we're choosing anything different. And so he came out and said, look, it's hardware ray tracing. If that's the word you want to hear out of my mouth, fine, that's what it is. It's coming from the GPU.
Yeah. Now let me ask you, so what exactly is the big deal? Because to me, Lisa Su has said multiple times that they're going to both have it. They're just right now, AMD doesn't have any ray tracing. They were going to have to do things differently.
Yeah.
But they were going to have it. Let me see if I can find it here where he said,
she definitely said it. Matter of fact, it was on Sony's stage that she said it. The problem is she did not specify whether it was software or hardware.
Well,
and when she was on the stage with Microsoft, and Microsoft clarified it when they did their trailer, their Scarlet trailer, they physically mentioned hardware ray tracing.
But Sony just said that they were going to have the same type
Yeah.
of ray tracing that Marvel uses with the Avengers movies. They
Yeah.
literally just announced it, what, like 2.5, 3 weeks ago?
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of like that should have told everybody. It's like, okay, if you watch Endgame or if you watch Infinity War, look at Thanos. That's why I keep telling people. I said, go get a 4K version of Infinity War. And when Thanos is the very beginning, when he uses the Infinity Stones, the Space Stone and the Power Stone, you can see the way the light is tracing off his face. I'm like, yeah, there's ray tracing right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Again, a
man,
lot of the guys did not want this to be true. They do not want the PS5 on equal footing. They they want PS5 to be the underdog, and it's crazy because I thoroughly believe if the Xbox Scarlet is not the most powerful hardware, no matter how small or how large, if it does not have the most powerful hardware, they will not go out and buy that console.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Me ask you, why is it such a big deal? I mean, I have my own hypothesis, but why is it such a big deal that Xbox be different than PlayStation? Why? It's like these guys, they predicate everything on, well, Microsoft's going to do something that Sony's not, and they're going to both do pretty much the exact same things, albeit differently. But why do you think it's such a big deal for some of these guys?
Man, I think it all started back from 2013, man. I think they feel like the reason PlayStation won this generation was because of power, because they were more powerful. They don't want to hear you say it was because of price. They don't want to hear you say it's because of exclusives and games. They don't want to hear you say it's because of the Kinect camera that was forced on them. They don't want to hear any of the other reasons. They don't want to hear that, it cost more, it was weaker, and and the games just never came. They don't want to hear that. And so it's that deniability. The guys are just in denial about a lot of things. And at this point, they they thought Gears was going to bring Xbox back. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
Now they moved on. They said Halo is going to bring Xbox back. And for those Xbox guys, or Halo guys that are still out there, I mean, for the most part, everyone's moved on to Call of Duty and Battlefield and PUBG and all these other games. People moved on for those old games, those old franchises. But there's just that hardcore Xbox guys that just won't give up when it comes to that stuff. That's why, Craig, you saw it. I saw it. Everyone saw it when they had the top 10 games that Xbox bought. It was all up and down that list. Halo, Gears, and Forza, up and down the list. Those were the only games that these guys spent money on.
Yeah.
They didn't buy anything else. So out of all those new IPs like Rise, Son of Rome, Sunset Overdrive, in Dead Rising, and so on and so on and so on, the guys didn't buy any of those. They only bought Halo, Gears, and Forza. So guess what? We start a new generation. Guess what game they're hyping up? Halo, and then Forza, and then Gears, and then rinse and repeat. And I think those guys are dying out. There's not enough of those guys to sustain the Xbox. For the most part, the bulk of the Xbox guys have already jumped ship. They're jumping ship now. The writing's on the wall. By the time Microsoft actually gets some games, it's not guaranteed that those games are going to be, obviously they're not going to be AAA because that doesn't fit into Game Pass, or what Phil Spencer said, that doesn't fit into their model.
True.
So for those people who are looking for the big blockbuster AAAs and stuff like that, the games like God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding, Days Gone, and so on and so on and so on and so on. Those big blockbuster games, they just have to go to PlayStation. There's no other place for you to get them.
I don't. Yeah, it's but which is stuff we all knew. So let me read this real quick into the record here. This is about the ray tracing thing. It says, before they do, Sony wants to clarify something. When we last discussed the forthcoming console, he spoke about its ability to support ray tracing, a technique that can enable complex lighting and sound effects in 3D environments. Again, ray tracing can be used for sound, people. I mean, I don't know why you all don't understand that, but I'm glad they bring it up here. It says, given the many questions he's received since, he fears he may have been ambiguous about how the PS5 would accomplish this, and confirms that it's not a software level fix, which some had feared. There is ray tracing acceleration in the GPU hardware, he says, which I believe is a statement that people were looking for. That's a direct quote. So it gets no more straightforward than that. So belief born out by my own Twitter mentions, which for a couple of weeks in April made a graphics reading technique seem like the only thing the internet had ever cared about. So I guess him and Mark got inundated with questions. JW, is that the way you're kind of reading this?
Yep. It's all there in black and white.
What is one of the biggest surprises that they confirmed today? What kind of, you said, oh, I didn't see that coming.
Well, they gave out, they said holiday 2020, which everybody knows holiday starts in October through December for the most part. So we know that time frame. I think it's going to launch in November. Probably similar date as with the PS4 and the PS4 Pro launched. They did get into specifics about the new DualShock 5 and the haptic feedback in the triggers, haptic feedback in the controller itself with some more stuff, but a lot of people missed what they said about the resistance. For example, in some games like shooters, right? If you're shooting a shotgun, it'll have resistance, meaning you have to pull the trigger a lot harder to get it to fire than you would if you have, let's say, a pistol. So that resistance in those triggers is something that's different as well. So it's not just rumble motors, but these are haptic feedback. Basically, if you have an iPhone or Android with the fingerprint and all that stuff on there, all that is haptic feedback. And so it is something new that they have in a controller. So I mean that was new. They also talked about some suspected launch title games for this, and this is
now what have you been hearing? What have you been hearing?
Horizon Zero Dawn 2, Gran Turismo 7, Project Awakening, and there was one more game I can't think of. I'm trying to think now. Man, I can't think of the name of that game. But we expect that they're going to have that event. I think one of those guys, Benji Sales or Jason or the other guy, Colin Moriarty or whatever, talked about the February event for the PS5 reveal. So we all know in February, The Last of Us 2 gets launched. So I suspect it'll be somewhere around that time. They'll have an event. They can show possibly the PS5. They can show some demo of some games, maybe demo of Gran Turismo Sport or something running on it, maybe The Last of Us 2 running on it, something that shows us, hey, this is what's going to happen with this system. This is how it's going to differentiate itself. They may give us a look, kind of like what they did with the Pro. They gave us like a little gloss over look at an angle. They'll probably do that teaser leading up to E3.
All right.
Yeah.
I can see something like that. Now, who do you think? And we were talking about this the other day. Shout out to Foxy Games UK, who pretty much has been saying they're going to have ray tracing, probably for like the last 5 or 6 months. So shout out to him. Who do you think they're going to get up on stage to present? Do you think they'll go with Jim Ryan himself, or do you think that somebody else will come out?
Probably Mark Cerny. If it was me, I'd have Mark Cerny. He's the architect. He's the guy that, you remember, a lot of people said that he was boring when he came out with the PS4 Pro, and he
the technical
technical spec and all the stuff. He's the tech head, but people don't realize, right? Until like a year later or 2 years later, when the pro started doing stuff in some games that was like, look, you've seen God of War, you've seen Horizon Zero Dawn, some of this amazing stuff for a 4.2 T-flop system. And then we started talking about ray tracing and stuff, and it was like, this is the stuff that Mark Cerny was sitting on stage talking about, but nobody was paying attention because you guys said it was boring, it wasn't what you wanted to see.
Yeah.
But he's the architect. He's not only a developer, but he's an architect and he's the designer. So I'm comfortable with letting him do what he does. I mean, he's the evil genius. He's the mad scientist. It worked for him this generation, right? They were able to stomp out the competition, and hey, why not let him do it now? Let this guy talk about these proprietary SSD drives. Let him talk about the CPU and the GPU and get that stuff out of the way. And maybe at E3, all we just see is games.
And what advantage is the SSD drive going to have over the way it loads and puts things out now? With
Offloading the big data fast. As you know, I think we have the PS5 will have a 4K Blu-ray player, but on top of that was to differentiate that is the size of the disc that they're actually using. And that's going to be 100. Each disc is, have the capability of each disc being 100 gig. So regular Blu-ray discs are 25 gigs.
Correct.
And a dual layer is 50 gigs.
50, yeah,
so
50 to 50.
These are going to be quad layers, 100 gigabyte discs. So that's crazy. If you think of The Last of Us, is going to have 2 discs.
Correct. Yeah.
So imagine, a PS5 version of the last of Us. That's that much more data will flow through that system. So it's going to be crazy.
Yeah. Now
bigger worlds and stuff like that. So that's the Blu-ray, and then you got the SSD drive. So once all that data offloads to that really quick, really fast, you got your instant game loading time. If I boot up Call of Duty, I say, hey, I don't want to play the multiplayer right now. Install the single player. So it starts loading that data really quick, and it allows me to start the game. And by the time I'm in the game, more data is being loaded. So by the time I'm at a substantial point in the game, the loading's done.
That was a whole thing, because people are talking about how fast Spider-Man is going to load.
In a second.
Yeah, but I like that screen, the load screen, because if you didn't realize it, whatever outfit you had on for your character at the time, that's the outfit that was frozen on the screen, and they were giving you different things that each suit could do. So I don't know if a lot of people noticed that.
Yeah, in the back, right, in the past, they've had the big loading in the middle of the screen, and people would have to sit there and go get some coffee and then come back. But they found out ways on how to utilize that time that you're waiting. So if you're waiting 20 seconds to load a level in Spider-Man per se, there's other things that you can do while that is loading in the back. So it's not necessarily game breaking for that. So yeah.
Now the 4K player, for everybody, for me personally, that did surprise me, because it's not. I'm interested to see if they can make one that's just as good as their standalone player, because their standalone Blu-ray player, 4K player, is the number one selling number one in the world. That's the number one seller. I forget, it's like the BD. Forget which one it is. But it's something, but it's real good.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that they added that because they want you to watch movies. I think they had no choice. When you're using quad layer discs, you need the bigger size. It just kind of made sense. So I mean, that's the only option you have to go with. That's just a feature of the disc on what you're dealing with. So yeah.
Yeah, Savage Jr. says he's curious about the graphic fidelity in Horizon Zero Dawn 2 on PS5.
Oh, me too. I mean, I don't know what you think, Craig.
I've seen some screenshots of just, I don't know if they're real or if they're people are drawing stuff, but I've seen some screenshots of Aloy that I just can't believe. I'm like, well, how do you guys do this?
Yeah.
They'll be up, because people send stuff to Guerrilla Games still to this day, and Guerrilla, puts them out if you follow them on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I saw one of Aloy. I couldn't believe it. Looked like a real person.
Yeah.
Just sitting in a flower field. I'm like, my God. I mean, is this part of the game? I don't remember this part of the game. I do remember it. I thought you hit it spot on a couple years ago when you did your review of Frozen Wilds, just on what it looked like.
Yeah.
Phenomenal looking game.
I think Craig is the base of all of the PlayStation games that launched this year, right? That did really well, sold tens of millions of copies. The foundation is there, so the game is actually there. All they would have to do is deal with some more high fidelity textures, different art style, and stuff like that. And just clean it up. And so it wouldn't take a developer another 5 to 6 years to make a game, because they don't have to make it from scratch. They have the assets, they have everything they need to build a game. So these games would normally take 5 to 6 years to make from scratch, now only have to take 3 years, 2 years. Look at Kojima, right? He made Death Stranding within 3 years. And how is that possible? Because they gave him an engine. So he had an engine. The hardest part is creating an engine from scratch. That took so long. That's what took so long with the Metal Gears and when he was with Konami, building that Fox engine. So I mean, being able to make, and we're not talking about indie game, we're talking about full-fledged AAA game, being able to make that and release that within 3 years. From what I understand, Spider-Man didn't take that long. And a couple other games of Sony games didn't take long to produce because they have the foundation.
Yeah, Spider-Man, that's built on the same engine that they built. I can't think of the name of Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah,
it's pretty much the same engine. It's better. It's a better physically. Yeah. So, Princess, if you want the link, let me know.
That is true, Top Dog. He said no games are using the extra storage from the Xbox's Ultra 4K Blu-ray player. That is true. Even though they have that capability, but look at their games though. They don't really have graphical demanding games like that. So that would make sense.
You mean Sea of Thieves is not that graphically demanding?
Oh man, hey, remember the cloud power enabled water?
Oh yeah,
remember that? Yeah.
So how was the day today? Because I had work. Go ahead.
Shout out to Top Dog. Hey man, I like that Z01 Camaro in there. I'm debating on getting the Z01 or getting the new Mustang GT 500. So those are the two cars that I'm kind of debating on getting right now.
I go with that Mustang, the Z dashboard, but I like dashboards now. Yeah. My brother's got this. He's got a Lexus. He got the 2-door coupe.
Oh, nice.
It looks like Darth Vader's TIE fighter when you're inside of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. So, okay. So hopefully Princess can jump on.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I was just gonna say. Oh man, what I was about to ask.
Yeah. By the way, Craig, they did come out and announce that they already have a couple of games running.
Brother.
On the PS5 dev kit, such as Gran Turismo Sport. So technically, they got that thing running at 8K 120 frames. Again, your guess is good as mine. I don't know how they're working the magic or the voodoo that they do. I just know what they've delivered so far. They're still working with Spider-Man as well. They're demoing that. So they sent some demo pieces of software out to show those guys and let them work with some of the stuff that they've been able to do,
Right. Yeah. Now, also I want to ask you, what was the day like online and on Twitter? Because again, I was at work. I was able to catch part of you all stream when they were breaking D-Batch's jaw. And shout out to D-Batch for officially anointing me his overthrow has officially anointed me the tech guy. Because that was pathetic. I mean, he sit up there when they pulled that tweet saying something about show me where it's gonna have hardware based ray tracing. I don't understand. To me, this is what I say to people. I just think there were people who were so gun ho, and not just him. I mean, let's call out. It was like Matt's game and people in his comment section. The Almighty Spartan guy, you know who I'm talking about. Did you ever? So the Almighty Spartan guy is owed an apology from what's it called? Master Chef, Mr. Glass, all these people in Matt's gaming section. In his comments, they don't know what the hell they're fucking talking about. So so it's just like, but what was Twitter? And because I was at work and I just happened to get on, I happened to just kind of jump. We had a little 5-minute thing. So I just typed in PlayStation news, and I seen all this stuff, all this traffic was going, a certain spot. So from your point of view today, what was today like? Kind of, what has your day been like? And then some of the things you've seen being said.
Oh man, it's been glorious. Oh my God. Finally, and even that guy, that Clobril guy, that Xbox guy, well, he's not. He's supposedly the insider, right? He has all the inside information about Xbox. He got mad at Sony for revealing this information because he wanted to be the inside source. So he went on and tweeted he didn't think that, or he said in the forum, he didn't think it was good for Sony to reveal this information in this manner. And it's like, dude, all you do is leak, take information you hear from the guys at Xbox and you leak it out and become the head source. So it's okay, man.
But all right, so what else went on I heard some stuff and it was bad for some people had a bad day. But overall, what was the level of damage controlling today like that you saw?
Oh man, you got a shout out to my man Cole Eastwood. He's out there saying stuff like what do you say? It's glad to see that that Xbox forced Sony's hand in forcing them to add this and add a 4K Blu-ray and add this and add that. And it's like, oh my God, man, these guys are really delusional. Whenever in history has the winner followed the loser? That just never happened before. It's crazy.
Yeah, does Colt Eastwood know that Sony helped invent Blu-ray?
Yeah, you listen. Okay, he's in that same category as D-Batch, right? They all roam in the same circles. So when you speak in the same language and you talking the same jive turkey stuff, then you're gonna get the same output.
Yeah, Savage Jr. He's tired of these tech YouTube. We put tech in quotes, talking about stuff they obviously don't know about. Savage Jr. That's why you need to start your own channel, man. That's why you have to start your own channel. So, for instance, says your guests need to connect their mic cam before. So, there we go. There we go. Can you hear us, Princess? Well, she was there, and now she's gone. So we'll keep an eye and see. Make sure you can jump on. This says device is not connected. So, but yeah, I just do not. I saw somebody else say that Sony found out Microsoft was going to do hardware-based ray tracing. Yeah. I don't know if you all saw that. The Almighty Spartan guy, did you see that today? And
yeah, I screenshotted that. I got a lot of screenshots. So the next couple of days is going to be pretty funny here on Twitter. But that goes back to everybody wants to be an engineer. Everybody wants to have be the inside source and know what they talk about and this and that. And at the end of the day, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Until Sony tell you what they're going to do, or until Microsoft tell you what they're going to do, it doesn't matter. But the next big thing, Craig, is the Xbox guys, again, they're still harping on power. Hey, we got BitCloud Gaming. Let's get Ryan in here. He wants to come in here and chime in. What do you think about
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I'm looking for his thing right now. Here we go.
Yeah, man. It's
Princess, are you
crazy.
there now? Yeah.
But it was glorious. I mean, it was glorious. When I woke up this morning and saw all of this stuff, I said, today is going to be a wonderful day. And it has been. Just seeing a lot of people delete these tweets, their old tweets. A lot of them are changing the narratives now. Now it's back to power. Yeah, and I don't know if you heard, Craig, but the Switch has surpassed the Xbox in only 2 years.
I heard that. I got a message a few weeks ago that Xbox had sold like 46 million.
Yeah.
So, but could not get it to like I had to like sign like a release thing from Microsoft.
The NDA.
Get it? Well, you have stock in MS, don't you?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's my personal stuff. They don't know me from Joe Blow, you know. I'm just J-Dub.
Yeah. They, like I said, they don't know me, but like you get an end of year, fiscal year thing, and I saw that. I'm like, there's no way that's true. Yeah, that's all I say.
Yeah.
So Impatient Fire said Lee Batch got his jaw broken.
Yeah, that's my man D Batch. You know, everybody know he's made some wrong predictions in his past, or he has a habit of doing that. And you know, we joke about it in our DMs and stuff like that. He's a good guy. He's just, you know, he's a tech kid. He loves tech. Tech fascinates him. And so he's not willing to wait to find out. So a lot of times, right, people want to be the first out there to throw something out there, and then but that comes with risk and reward, right? The reward
like
is
Assassin's Creed.
Hey, what's up, Ryan? What's going on, man?
What's up? Like that 1080p Assassin's Creed 60 mode, man.
Yes.
Motherfucker, you know what's bad when a developer has to legit reply to shit like that and literally say you're a liar. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Well, mine actually does that. I mean, but I've got that little bit more button on mine.
No, God.
Hey, Craig, I always had that little bit more button on.
I show that to people. People like, oh, that's just a USB drive. I said, no, that's what it looks like to you guys. There's some magic in there that helps that CPU. So.
Yeah, and it was. Shout out to Players United Gaming. It was a lot of people out there. I mean, you swear it was Watergate. People was just deleting stuff left and right. They was clearing their whole history.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Numbers?
Yes,
we go, Princess.
Hey, what's up? Hey,
doing?
listen, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm just gonna let you know something, Craig.
Yes,
You interrupted me when I was watching Martin. So what's up?
Hey, thanks for jumping on real fast. So J-Dub City, he gracious enough to kind of let us in on some things happening today. A lot of people got their jaws broken. There's a lot of bruised legs.
A lot of legs were broken after those sales numbers were revealed.
Well, Craig, there's something I want to tell you, and both of us said the same thing. We predicted it with the announcement about 2020 when it comes to PlayStation 5, and everybody else was telling us we were wrong.
Yeah,
it was like 2022 and 21 and all this other crazy shit. And guess what? Once again, we were right. People need to start listening to us more. And what's up, Spartan guy? What's happening?
Yeah,
could have sworn I said it was going to be revealed 2019 and released 2020.
I still don't. No, there's just nothing. Well, technically, it has been revealed in 2019.
Okay, it's going to be revealed 2019. That's where you get prepped up. Then the release would be 2020 after they go all out with resources. We don't even know what the tagline is going to be. They're working on another one and whatnot.
Oh man,
Greatness Awake's not going to work no more. They got to change it up to something else.
Yeah, but
I think the greatness coming.
They have the best taglines in gaming, period, man. They really do. They're catchy, and I remember at the beginning of the generation, Xbox guys were teasing, saying, waiting. You're always waiting. Yeah. Now how the tides have turned. Guys have been saying for the last 4 years, wait till E3, wait till Comic-Con, Gamescom, Tokyo Gaming Show. wait to E3 again, and now it's wait to next generation.
Cope kind of creeped me out earlier today. He was talking about how Sony like stole Microsoft's tagline for a PlayStation Now, and I'm like,
Oh my
God. And then I see this, and all of a sudden, as soon as the damn sales numbers are revealed, crickets.
Yep.
Yeah, people didn't get to that today. That's going to be
I
like
love that. I love how everybody just
7
swept under
years.
the rug.
7 years. Listen, it only took Nintendo 2 years to do
give
what
yourself
you do in 7 years.
Yeah. Nintendo's about to be at what, 36, and they're at
No, they're already in the
46.
30s. They're about to be at 40.
Oh, they're about to be at 40. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
damn. So they about to laugh it
Their
in less
fiscal
than 2 years.
year. They said they're projecting to sell about 52 million in their projected.
That is absolutely ridiculous.
Crazy, and this $199 Switch is gonna blow it out the water.
And speaking of Switch, I know you've been buying like a bunch of lights. Are you gonna buy that other one? Because there was a patent for another one.
I'm waiting on that one because I got these Switch lights, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to find out, people are reporting that they're having drift issues with these too. So they never fixed the problem. They just slimmed down the model.
They just slimmed down and permanently attached them to units.
Yeah. So
save money.
While the Switch Lite, I love it. I love it even better than the original. But man, what do you having drift? You can't fix that. There's no fix for that.
That's true.
And so you got to keep sending it in and they'll keep returning it. Why did they make the Switch Lite without fixing the issue? And so now they have a new one in the works. Why? It was a money grab, and they should.
Same as they did the 3DS. Remember the 3DS had the 3D gimmick, then they came with 2DS to get rid of that.
But
thing.
You know what? This
XL?
is their red ring of death. I think they do, but it's Nintendo, and so Nintendo doesn't get criticized as hard as Sony and Xbox or PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah,
we all know if the DualShock and if the Xbox controller had the same issue, they would be getting
crucified.
Yeah.
Yep. Remember, hell, we already saw it at the start of this shit. Remember the shoulder buttons, Xbox One?
Yeah.
People were saying they were ridiculously too flush against the controller. They fixed that with the Elites. I mean,
the rubber used to come off.
Trash.
I never had that problem with
terrible rubber on the stock DualShock Force.
I've never had a problem with the original Xbox joystick.
The thing about it, Craig, is most people, right? After you get a launch controller, after about year 2, year 3, they start making the customized controllers and the different theme controllers, and so I don't know anyone who still has a stock day one.
Mine day one. Mine's still like I had one that was still in good shape until it eventually died because of the battery problems and the analog sticks. But I can tell you right now, if you have the stock controller, I don't know if you still have one in your house, but if you have a stock controller and you have one of the newer ones, you can tell the difference in terms of quality.
Oh yeah, I have
you can feel it.
Play one. And it is different. You can tell the difference of the quality and the build of it. You can tell it kind of seems a little bit, I don't want to say more sturdier, but at least from the analogs, you can just tell it's a different texture and feel. And it does feel really good.
D-pads are a little bit more tighter on the newer controllers compared to the last one, the stock one.
Hey, let me give a big shout out here to BGS Igmore. Shout out to the master teacher for swinging by on his California tour. Shout out to BGS, brother. How you doing? Go ahead, continue. I want to ask Princess something though about the new UI. All right, let me ask Princess, what out of what you saw today that was confirmed by Sony, what surprised you the most? For me personally, it was the 4K Blu-ray because I did not see that coming. So,
really, Craig?
I did not. No.
We talked about this numerous times. You're going to get it. PS5.
Actually, he was talking to the princess. So I'm the princess. Unless you change your ways, I'm the princess. But anyway,
oh, that was so clever. Ooh.
No, because you constantly interrupt me, and this is the first time.
That was very clever. Not saying.
Anyway, nothing actually surprised me, believe it or not, because I expected, Sony to bring out what they brought out. You know what I'm saying? So I was not surprised. So yeah, actually, nothing really surprised me.
Blu-ray player, the 4K Blu-ray player didn't surprise you.
No, because everything's going to 4K now. So I figured if they're going to do it, they're going to do it right.
Right. Well, do you think it'll be as good as their standalone one that's like #1 in the world? They have the #1 selling 4K player in the world.
You're talking about Sony.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to be. Yeah, I think it's going to be better. I think that when it comes to 4K, yeah, yeah. I mean, you're talking about Sony, and people don't realize that they make some of the best equipment around. When it comes to TV and the players and everything, they do that. That's what they do. Besides movies and games and consoles, that's what they do. Yeah. So I don't think, I'm not actually surprised about that. I'm really not. Did I think they were going to put a 4K? I had an idea. I didn't say nothing, but I had an idea they were going to do that. I had a feeling, only because the TVs are going to 4K. Everything's going to 4K now. So yeah, I had a feeling about that. The one thing is, I did want to say, Craig, I can't stay too long. Okay.
I know.
No, but I just wanted to.
You got to get back to Martin.
Not only I got other things to get back to, so it ain't only Martin. So but yeah, the one thing I did want to mention real quick was, because you had it in your stuff, was Concrete Genie.
Yes, yeah. What do you all think?
Well, first of all, I like the game. Mm-hmm. I have it. I played it for a little bit. I'm gonna say I'm not gonna spoil it for nobody, but the graphics look good. The game plays well. Color scheme is nice.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful game, and for $30, if you don't support it, there's something wrong. Honestly.
Why is it called Concrete Genie?
Why is it called Concrete Genie?
I mean, can you not spoil it and explain maybe.
I'm trying to see. It's late. I don't want to spoil nothing. I don't want to say nothing I'm not supposed to.
That's right.
Yeah. Let me not do that. Let me not do that, because I don't want to spoil nothing. It's part of kind of the story. Okay. Let me put it that way. Something has happened. That's got to be fixed. I'm trying to say this without spoiling nothing. Damn it! Why do you do this to me, Craig? Without spoiling it. Let's put it that way. It's part of the story. Things have to be fixed, and I think you'll understand it when you even after a half hour, not even a half hour playing it, you'll kind of understand what that means.
I got you. Yeah. Do you think Sony won E3 for next year? Corey Massey just said that. Yeah, he said, what did he say?
Put it this way, they don't have to go to E3 to win, because Microsoft does it for them. They put on all the multiplats and talk about games. So they don't have to go to E3. They win every year. Lately, they don't even have to show up. But you know that this past year, they have to show up, and they still won E3 without being there.
Yeah, show more gameplay out of that Death Stranding trailer a week before E3 than freaking E3. That was ridiculous. Come on, y'all had no gameplay. And then the year before, they swore.
Jeff Keighley going to advertise the shit out of that at the Game Awards.
Yeah. But two girls kissing each other, for Christ's sake. And then they said, well Xbox won because they showed that they were interested, because they bought a bunch of damn studios. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, where was no gameplay? They got two girls kissing each other, and then somebody getting jigged in the jugular, and you all talking about studios getting bought. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm talking about.
Well, Craig, I'm going to go for now. I'll be listening in between, but I'm going to go for now. But listen, I'm going to hit you up, and I'll be talking to you later, because I'm going to hit you up about a podcast later on.
Okay, that's cool. Well, have a good evening. Thanks for hopping on, Princess.
Have a good one.
No problem. You too. You guys have a good one, and I'll talk to you soon.
Sure.
All
right. Bye-bye.
Yeah. All right, Big Cloud. So what confirmed came out today that surprised you? That you just said, "Whoa!" I mean, I saw your videos.
I was saying, you're talking to a guy who's been covering it exclusively for like a minute. Like half the stuff that I covered.
I got you. What got confirmed today that you could say, "Oh, I didn't see that one coming"?
Probably the new additions to the controller that actually took me through a spin. You know, the new triggers that they're going for.
Yeah.
Those are actually a nice addition.
I
Because
thought-
remember, we covered quite a bit. Remember, the one of the main patents that I covered controller wise was for VR. It was a new VR controller they were going to use for the new VR headset, supposedly, where it slides on your hands and it uses like cameras to track your fingers.
Oh, I did not know that.
It was a patent I did a long time ago. That was the one I covered. As far as DualShock 5, there was really nothing for DualShock 5 that leaked that I remember correctly. It was nothing. And a lot of us kind of just figured they would use the same old DualShock 4, maybe make the triggers a little bit more stiffer, you know, a little bit more of a tighter feel, and then get rid of stuff like the light bar and keep the speaker. Maybe that's what we kind of figured they were going to do. And then here they go. They announced this with the new triggers. These triggers right now, I'm telling you right now, these new triggers kind of shit all over those impulse triggers that Microsoft was aiming for in many ways. And the reason why they're doing for it, they're not strictly just for shooters, and they're not just
if they work.
If they work, they will shit on the impulse triggers because they're not necessarily just going to be set for shooters and racers. These are like legit finely tuned triggers where the developer can actually tweak them with the patches so you can get more functionality out of them. You know what I'm saying? So let's picture you playing Resident Evil 8, and let's say Resident Evil 8 is in the Resident Evil 7 format, and you're going through the house. You can feel those creaks and crevices as you walk through the halls. That's type of immersion that we're talking about. And we're not even counting VR headsets, especially if you put the headset on, unless they make you use the controller. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's another level of immersion, make you feel it. Hell, imagine Resident Evil 3. Guys, you remember the big footsteps you hear when you hear the tyrant in Resident Evil 2?
Yeah.
Imagine that amplified with this particular controller.
Yeah.
And you hear stars. You know?
Well, I hated that. That was Resident Evil 3, and I hated that game. I mean, with a passion. You would be sitting up there trying to get out of a room, and it come in there, stars. I'm like, what is this thing?
It was a little cringy for the movie. I will admit, they got cringy for the movie.
Well, but for the time, that was great because it was random. You didn't know where the thing was going to pop out at. So I guess that was part of the charm of the game. So did they say anything today? I perused that article. Did they say anything about the sound, about the spatula sound, the three-dimensional sound?
Nothing about the 3D audio that we talked about. Nothing about that. It was just mostly strictly controller. Right. Obviously, we're going to get new and improved UI. And we kind of figured we're going to get new UI because of the new Google Assistant that they're adding to this. So I just hope when they showed this off, they don't pull a Microsoft where they spend too much time on shit like the UI. I really do not care. It would be best to do what they did with PS4. Remember that shit, Kratos, where they did bits and pieces. You saw the UI first, then they started the show, and then you saw games, and then you saw the controller beforehand, and then all that shit. Do it like that. Tease it, bits and pieces, till you get to the final design. Because I already showed the dev kit in my video. You guys saw how it looks. It doesn't look too bad in person, but obviously it's not going to look like that.
But again,
and again, doesn't like that final build. But
let's face it, no matter how this thing look,
it's going to be sexy.
Everybody named mama. I mean, over 100 million people going to pump down their cash for this thing. It's a hot ticket. Listen, only Sony can break the internet by just tweeting one tweet and then just have everything shut down and trending and stuff like that.
That's scary too. That's scary because they're not doing events.
That in their wildest dream, even when they talked about the Scarlet, it never trended. It never became a topic of discussion or of the day. It's just they can't buy that kind of attention, and they have all the money in the world, man, and they just can't buy it. But that goes to show you got to have games. Gamers are in here for games. All the other stuff is added, and it's extra, but you gotta have games. If you don't have no games, no hardware in the world will be able to save you. And I think Microsoft over the last 5 years, they've been trying to fight a software problem with more hardware, and that's the problem.
And that's the sad part. We looked forward to more hardware than we did software. Everybody was hyping up the X. Like you would think the Xbox One X was the Scarlet.
Yeah,
if we would go back a few years, it was crazy.
They waited long enough. I mean, and check this out. This is what I understand, Ryan, and maybe you can kind of chime in. But when guys say we have the most powerful console and we have the better version of the multiplats, and when I turn around and ask them, okay, well, what system were you gaming on for the last 5 years before the X came out.
Yeah.
Were you not playing on PlayStation? Or because if you were not playing on PlayStation, then you don't mind playing for 5 straight years the inferior version of the multiplayer and on the inferior console.
I love the flip flopping that happened after that shit. They go, okay, I'm gonna trade in my PS4 now for this Xbox One X.
Yeah.
Fast forward a year later, I'm trading in my Xbox One X. I'm going PS4 again, and I'm like, let me get this straight. You just fall into hype. So it took Tomb Raider, a Tomb Raider screenshot to make you turn in your PlayStation 4, which was still getting bangers at the time.
Exactly.
For this, and people wonder why, people wonder, creators, why we always be savage on them. It's like because common sense is lacking here.
Yeah, all it is
for the games, but you're not. You have,
yeah, it's a reply, it's a rebuttal to what the shit that they say. All it
right,
is, it's a
I
rebuttal.
don't get it. Yeah, and then they go, well, how can you hate on somebody's preference? It's not about hating on your preference.
Yeah.
It's the shit you're saying.
Yeah, if
it ain't true.
If you
it ain't true, what you're saying.
My reply is going to be this. So the X was the "We Heard You" console.
Oh God!
And we see how that turned out. I think it's reported
in the PR spin. Remember? Oh,
yeah.
The system has no boundaries, no limitations. You ran shit.
It's a monster.
It's a monster. Yeah, it's the We Heard You console. This is the console that developers been asking for. Then they had EA. Man, this is gonna be the best thing ever. When they gave us the tool, we can deliver bigger and better games.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, this shit's gonna be a monster then. $500, and I don't see shit in a year. Like, what the fuck? What is this?
It took them 2 years to get a game that looked halfway decent on it, enough for people to say, okay, this is what we can call our own, which is Gears 5. Gears 5 does look good. Nothing about it. But the majority of people say, well, it's Gears, right? It should do that. It's Halo, Gears, and Forza. That's what have you done for me lately? What is something new?
I mean, don't get me wrong. Gears 5 is great. You play Gears. We both play Gears.
Yeah.
We all three of us play Gears.
I love it. Yeah,
it was a good game. It's just me and you both. We both can all have this conversation like mature adults and admit, though, that ain't enough.
Yeah.
That's not changing shit. It ain't changing shit. It's a good game.
Ryan, here's the thing, though. People have already moved on from Gears, and they're awaiting Halo Infinite.
Exactly.
Now, the last 4 or 5 years, Xbox guys were crying, or for them. Some of them, a lot of big mouths said, we give us more than Halo, Gears, and Forza. We're tired of the same thing. Create new IPs, do this, do that. Yep. And, give it up to Microsoft. They decided to buy some studios and to start making those. But then the guys, once Gears come out, they default back to their standard. Halo, Gears, and Forza.
It's like, this is the best as it gets. I'm like, guys, listen, it's a pretty game.
Yeah.
Nobody's denying that it's a pretty game.
But the mere fact that the game got 1 Metacritic point higher than the previous one means that either there's fatigue.
It's just this unbelievable quality. It's like, guys, the visuals, it looks better than Gears 4. We all can admit it's better than Gears 4 in terms of story and visuals, but and this is what I actually lasted more than an hour in playing. So it was good for that.
Ryan, you got to be honest though. When you've played games like Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War,
I'm hooked from start to finish.
Like, it's hard to go and play an Xbox game and an Xbox exclusive.
Bro, I haven't even played Man and Medan yet, and I really want to fucking play that. And that's from Supermassive. And ironically, that's a fucking multiplayer. But after coming from Until Dawn, you have no idea how much I've been craving to get back into that type of game. I like that.
And by multi-plat, you can get it on the PC.
Exactly. So I'm like, I was like, I don't know. It's like there's nothing really just like pulling me towards this new console. It doesn't matter what they do at this point. I remember dudes were hyping up, what's that game? Outer Worlds. Some dudes were asking me around, you gonna review Outer Worlds? I'm like, listen, I might play it, I might not. It's on Game Pass, I might try it out. But at the end of the day, I don't really give a shit about it. It's not really that type of game. It doesn't justify the service.
A Fallout clone. And it's made by a studio that Microsoft recently acquired called is it the Initiative? No, it's not the
Initiative. It's
Obsidian, Outer Worlds.
The Obsidian. Yeah. And people they're known for Fallout New Vegas about 20-30 years ago back in the
Trash.
And guys are making it seem like, oh, we got our own Fallout New Vegas, and it's like, listen, most of you guys don't remember that damn game, and you didn't play it, and you didn't care about it. I was one of those guys. I mean, I played it for a little while, but it wasn't memorable for me.
Yeah, that's what I was. Especially after Fallout 3. Fallout 3 was exceptional.
Yeah.
But they said if you were a hardcore Fallout player, you prefer Vegas. If you're just a casual Fallout player, you like Fallout 3. Well, I love Fallout 3. I mean, I spent hours. I had like 180 hours in the Capital Wasteland, they were calling it. Yeah, I was loving that. I was going around trying to find stuff to kill. You know?
We noticed the decrease in quality too, though, from that to 76. That's crazy.
We had David Jaffe on the podcast a couple of months ago, and we had to kind of had this conversation. And he said, "Look, Microsoft is buying studios, and it's all good and well." He said, "Man, you don't need to be buying any studios. You need to be acquiring some of these executives, some of these people who are connected in the industry, some of these people that have the eye and the talent for good quality games and studios and know what they can do with them. Because you can buy these guys and you can throw a bunch of guys in the room together and hope that they make something, but without having an eye and a knack for what you're looking for, you're going to keep getting the same thing." And
it's like a captain at a ship. You don't have a captain, you don't have no guidance. And that's really what they need, guidance.
These guys need to go get a Sean Layton and a Yoshida and a Jim Ryan and all down. They need to go get those guys. Those are bigger assets than 10 studios. Because what's his name?
Satya
Naughty Dog.
Neil Druckmann.
Yeah, he said, "Look, it took us a long time to get the team that we have now, where we can be able to bring you the quality that we're able to bring you time after time." He said, "This doesn't happen overnight." He said it takes a long time. And so by buying a studio and putting them together for 4 to 5 years, seeing what kind of game they can crank out, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to work out the first time or the second time. And Microsoft don't have a track record of letting companies or developers make a game and, maybe the first one don't do quite well, but let them follow up and find out what didn't go well the first time and follow it with a sequel. Microsoft don't believe in sequels like that unless it's a Halo, Gears, and Forza.
Yeah.
None of their games this generation got a sequel besides Halo, Gears, and Forza.
Remember the narrative before, though? Games like Horizon Zero Dawn and Zelda aren't impactful.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember that? I thought people forgot about
story-driven games don't cut it anymore.
It's like, it's all about multiplayer. I'm like, Phil, that has got to be the most asinine statement I have seen yet. And dudes want to go, "Oh, you're just a mad pony." Okay, I'm like, you know what? I'll tell you what. Let's give you 3 weeks. Let's give you 3 months and see how long this should last. It didn't even take a week.
Yeah, which is crazy, Ryan, because a gamer like me, right? I've beaten God of War like 3 or 4 times.
Exactly.
So it wasn't a one and done for me.
Right.
But you got to think about it. All these one and dones are selling almost 20 million copies, 10 million copies,
13, 3 to 1. You're multi
copies at $60 a pop, not $1.
Which
but
again,
you got these multiplayer games, right? These not one and dones like Crackdown 3, State of Decay 2, Sea of Thieves, and all these other games. These games, crickets. Nobody's playing that. How many hundreds of hours that people profess that they were going to be playing in Crackdown?
Here's my personal favorite. How many motherfuckers was hyped because they said 3 million players are playing Gears of War 5, but not 3 million sold for Gears of War 5.
Until it crashed, I was one of those 3 million. I'm like, man, I was actually all of a sudden, I'm like, what the hell is going on? This is not part of the game, is it?
And Ryan, that's the saddest part about it, right? The guys don't even they don't even report engagements anymore. That's how bad Xbox is doing right now. That's a cover up. Listen, when your stuff is good, you talk about it, right? Like when Gears 5 first launched, they talked about all these engagements, all these people, we did this, we did that. They will talk about sales when it fits their narrative and when it's good for them. Other
You
than
know,
that, they don't want to talk about it. And
you know
so
what's sad?
now,
If you into Gears of War 5 limited edition unboxing,
yeah,
there's only like 1 or 2 YouTubers that pop up, and one is Lamar Wilson. Now, I don't know if you know Lamar Wilson.
he gets all the stuff.
He gets
Yeah.
all this shit for free.
Yeah.
Damn.
So if you mean to tell me if I Google this shit and I get 1 or 2 people unboxing the console, you really think that's a fucking win? Like, it's like, bro, there's nobody buying the system. But if I go and put God of War PS4, that fucking search engine is going to be packed.
Everybody have their theme system.
Everybody got that shit.
Broadcasting, they're happy, they're unboxing. Look at Death Stranding, right? A game that most people don't even know what the hell is about. The fucking the damn theme console with the baby bundle and all that shit sold out. Look at Ellie. The Last of Us.
Bag.
All of that shit sold out in a matter of minutes.
I still can't believe that.
And still, you know what? Still though, you know the Jack bundle where you get the quad rotor and it flies. That shit is still in stock.
Exactly. That's
really?
But that shows you, right? And these are one and done games. These are games without multiplayer. So I just don't get out. Listen, all Microsoft has to do is follow the leader, right? Find out what they're doing and just follow them. Nintendo, listen, they're in their own lane, but they thrive off of their first party exclusive. They thrive off of it. The whole company are surviving off of it. Sony is surviving off of its storytelling, single player, story-driven games. That's what it thrives. That's what it does best. And so for Microsoft to say, well, we're just going to focus on the and think about it, all the studios they've purchased are all been purchased for a reason. When you look at them, they were either cash strapped, they were going out of business, they're smaller, AA or indie studio, meaning they were cheaper to buy. In the games that they've made in the past, they didn't knock anybody's socks off. They were just a good solid 70 game. For Microsoft, all you have to do is to produce a good 70 rated game and you're good. You're golden. And their standards are so low when it comes to it, but the Xbox fan base, their standards are so high when it comes to Sony games. We have Concrete Genie, right? Just launched. You can play the VR and you can play a standard. Beautiful game, beautiful. I recommend anybody buy it. It's great. I live streamed it last night. Only cost you $29. Anyway, this game is beautiful, and it got it. I think right now the Metacritic sitting at about a 78, 77, something like that.
Which is fine. It's new games, new style.
Yeah, but this one studio gave it like a 40. It was the same one that gave like Gears 5 a 60 and Horizon Zero Dawn a 40 and shit like that. You know, one of those. But it is what it is. No crying over spoiled milk. But when you compare a 77 rated game, right, for Sony, they said, oh, it flopped. It's a dud. But if Xbox guys got a 77 rated game, it would be like the game of the year to them. They would treat it like, oh my God, see, it didn't get a 69, so we're good. Literally, yeah. I hear these.
Wait, how did Jada, can you fill me? One of y'all fill me in because I'm still kind of like confused. I didn't get a chance to play this. I really wanted to, but I've got like so much in my backlog.
Yeah.
What did Control score? Control. What did it score? Control. You know, Remedy's Control. What is? Can I in the chat tell me? I didn't forgot because I really wanted to know because I was trying to compare that to some of this shit dropped.
Are we really caring about what White Zaddy says? Are you
no. I was
just to get a gauge for what it did. So let me tell you what it got. Right now, it got an 82.
Yeah,
Control?
That's right.
Yeah, Control got an 82.
Wow.
84. I mean, it's 8 out of 10 people. That's good.
Yeah, it's Remedy, and I think it's rumored that Sony already
in a deal. Yeah,
already got a deal with it. They already bought them. And
so they're saying they're not going to do it though. Do y'all think it's not true that they're not interested because it's like they're not the same?
No. I think they're interested because you know what? Okay, this game that's a multiplayer, right? Did an 82. That's good. That's a great game. So imagine under Sony's umbrella with their quality control and the talent and the guidance that they would have with a studio like that.
Yeah, see, to me, that's what
it's a single player game. Remember, that's right under that's what Sony likes. That fits their forte.
Yeah, and they bought and this you got to remember that like Insomniac, Sony bought Insomniac like at the top, like at their most lucrative when they to be both. Remedy could come in and, like J-Dub said, with their quality control, with their engines, with when they finally do it. But I dropped in the chat here, well, not in the chat, on the screen. Sony has also been talking to Bluepoint and Cdprojectred.
Well, Bluepoint is they have already come out today and confirmed this was part of the news today. I guess maybe a gag order was lifted, but now it seems like everybody's talking about the PS5 or whatever for as long as they can. But Bluepoint is making a game that is specifically for the PS5.
Yeah,
so
that was
a lot of people saying it's SOCOM, some saying it's one of the Souls games, some say it could be, I don't know what it is.
More like this SOCOM. That's where the big percentage everybody's got their money on.
And I would love that, only for the fact to shut the Xbox guys up about Sony not having multiplayer games, even though they have MLB, Gran Turismo Sport, The Last of Us, Uncharted, and some.
They like to pick and choose. They go, well, Killzone's multiplayer sucks. I'm like, well, asshole.
And then when you show them the games that they have that's multiplayer, then they move the narrative. Well, that's second party. That's not really first.
It's not real. That's not from the
first party game. They narrative to something else, So it doesn't matter.
Well, I'm saying, who cares what they say? I mean, what they want, just based on what they're saying. Their end game is they want Sony to be more like Microsoft. To me, Sony's got a lot of multiplayer games. I know Sean Layton, and that was the whole thing about the whole crossplay. That was Sean Layton that wanted that. Jim Ryan has publicly said that he thinks there are two different consoles with two different type of players. So it would not shock me if he looks at those multiplayer numbers and says, all right, look, we're not really using this. So I'd rather Sony do multiplayer with PC, especially if you have a console that does 60 frames a second on the game. So I just rather this because Sony's already been doing that. But I think their end game is to try to get Sony to act more like Microsoft when it comes to the way they're putting out their games. And the games Microsoft's games are trash. I've got an Xbox.
What breaks my heart? And I know Vidkid's in the chat, so he can vouch for me for this. But I said numerous times on the RGD podcast that I would like to see an Ape Escape game come back. And you notice on Twitter, we're getting a lot of teases for an Ape Escape this close to PlayStation 5, especially with the anniversary and whatnot just passed. There's a possibility we might get Ape Escape.
I thought it was confirmed by Yoshida.
Was it? Oh wow! See, I don't even know. See,
he had a tweet. This was about 2-3 weeks ago when they were kind of teasing it on IGN or whatever. And Yoshida was sending these the Ape Escape,
doing those descriptive tweets and shit.
And stuff like that. So
that's cool. That's cool, right? Let's go to the Xbox side. Sega came out and stated that they had Jet Set Radio Future sequel ready to go. All they needed was a developer.
Well,
they skipped out on it.
Didn't Insomniac say the same thing about Sunset 2? They were just waiting.
Sunset Overdrive 2 is going to be exclusive to PlayStation 5.
Are you serious?
Well, they own the IP.
They own the IP.
They own it outright. Yeah.
The only thing that won't come to PS4 or 5 more than likely is the trademark, which is the first one. That won't come to PS because Microsoft owns the trademark for that.
Yeah. I want to see Project Red possibly joining Sony Interactive.
I see about that. I looked a little into that. I see what you're talking about. If they had a little T, I don't know if it's anything big. More than likely, they'll probably collaborate with something. Maybe with their next game, which is Cyberpunk, they'll get like exclusive content. I'm not sure if they will go on that epic scale of making something exclusive for Sony, unless Sony has really pitched them an idea. Let's say a certain IP, and they would like them to make it. Who knows? But I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe if it's a new IP, and they'll take a chance with PlayStation. It's possible. Yeah.
What about them purchasing them? Jim Ryan came out publicly.
Cyberpunk or Cdprojectred, they're a little too big to be purchased, to be honest.
Okay, so let me talk about that. Right,
big as Insomniac.
I don't. Here's the thing, right? I do not think that Cdprojectred is, and this might be controversial, right? But I have my reasons. I don't think that they're a good studio, but they haven't reached that top tier level just yet. And I say that, right? Witcher 3, godly. Okay, good. Yeah. You got one banger under you. And remember, I played Witcher 1 and Witcher 2 on the PC before any console guy knew about what the hell this game was. And those games were smaller games. Most people don't even know them. It was kind of like Uncharted 1. Nobody knew what it was until Uncharted 2 hit.
2, yeah.
So it's that scenario. So you knock out Uncharted. Witcher 3. Good, great. Everyone loves it. Come to console. Everyone loves it. Come to PC. Everyone loves it. You need more than just one hit before you can reach that top tier status. And I think Cyberpunk 2077, if it's good, it's going to put them there. It'll put them in that mode. But just having a one-hit wonder doesn't solidify you as I need to be purchased by, so I think Sony would be, let's give these guys some time. Let's make sure that they can keep cranking this out, because you don't want to
make it Cyberpunk, maybe. That's you think they're like banking.
I think Cyberpunk is okay. I have two minds. Again, I said it's going to be controversial, right? I hope they prove me wrong.
You're not feeling it,
but no, I think the game looks great. I think it looks amazing. But I've been fooled a lot about a lot of these games this particular year. Right? A lot of the games you think was going to knock out the park,
Watch Dogs,
ended up kind of being a dud. No, I'm just saying, just specifically in 2019. So I think Cyberpunk 2020 will pull off maybe an 80, 82 Metacritic. I don't think it's going to be godly status like Witcher 3, and that's kind of my problem with buying them. We want them to hit that godly status, but Cyberpunk 2077 is going to have to really knock it out the park in order for that to happen. And in this day and age, with all these damn reviewers that give shit just 30s and 40s just because they feel like it, especially when everybody else is giving the game 100, 90s, high 80s, and you got that one that gives it like 20 and 30. Like in that day and age, it's going to be harder for those games to hit that 90 something status. So until the Metacritic score, Metacritic people start weaving out these people, and I said this earlier this morning. I tweeted out. I was reading reviews for Concrete Genie. It started out at like an 85, and then it went down to like a 77. I looked at the lower score was like a 40, and I read this guy started out. His first sentences was, "When it comes to art, I'm an idiot." Well, his first sentence, when it comes to art, I'm an idiot. So your credibility right there has went out the door. You're calling yourself an idiot because art. Well, guess what? What kind of game is this? This is a fucking artsy game.
Yeah, it's like Dreams.
Yes. I mean, it has fighting. It does. It has control and stuff, but it's an artsy game. So why would you review a game knowing that you're an idiot and you don't like these type of? That makes no sense. So we need to weed out these publications. We do.
You remember when Sony took a gamble, and this was last gen? I don't know if you remember this, Kratos, but it was a certain game, a certain gimmick. It was called Wonder Book. Remember that?
I remember that. Yes.
Remember Eli Roth was supposed to be partnering with Sony, and she actually did. She actually followed through with the deal, but a lot of people criticized it because they was like, "Well, it's just a book." Well, I'm like, "Asshole, that's the point. It's a spell book. It's for kids."
Here's the thing, Ryan. Right?
Yeah.
In this day and age, with a gaming community that's flooded with a bunch of shooters, a bunch of loot crates, a bunch of microtransactions, a bunch of shit like that, right? It's a breath of fresh air. Like when I was streaming Concrete Genie last night, I said, man, I like this game only because this is something new. This is something I've never played. Not the game itself, but the category of the game.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Why? There's 1,000 shooters on the market right now. We're talking about Cyberpunk shooter versus Call of Duty shooter versus Star Wars shooter versus Battlefield shooter. On and on and on and on. Fortnite, all that stuff roll into one. It's nothing but fucking shooters. That's all games are. Shooters, 2K, and Madden. That's all games are summed up as. Now, when you come with a game that's something different, right? And this is why I like this Death Stranding. It is different. It forces you to think. It forces you to think like, what is this trying to tell me? What am I missing? Right. What I don't get? It's the lore of it. It's something different. And I asked this question a couple of weeks ago. Are gamers being shoehorned into being certain gamers instead of them having their own reach on what type of gamers they want to be and what kind of content they want to access? Because it feels like we're being forced, right? Like right now, they're talking about this streaming shit.
Every game has to reach
People
a
don't
certain
want to
quota.
stream games; they want traditional, but they're being shoehorned and forced into it, right?
Yep. Every game has to have some kind of gimmick or something
loot
that's
crate,
carried over.
microtransactions. You know, I play
Battle
games.
Royale shit. Yeah.
Listen, I play these games and I don't spend a dime. Not on 2K, not on Madden, no, none of that shit. I don't spend a dime. Once I buy the game, I'm done. And if it's a free to play game, I play it like Fortnite and stuff. And Dauntless, I play it and I still don't spend a dime on it. I'll just be a rank.
I'll never understand the appeal of NBA 2K or Madden anymore. Like I see, when you see people those little prank videos, like, oh, I deleted his NBA 2K account. It's like, well, I spent $300 on that shit. I'm like, bro, why $300 for what? For some imaginary fucking stats?
Yep.
Well, Madden, I still play, but to answer J-Dub's question, let's answer this one. Triple J's got a question. He says, will Cyberpunk 2077 get the it's been downgraded treatment like Sony's exclusive this gen? Well, I'm not buying it. It's called Cyberpunk.
It's not going to get that treatment, and it's because it runs better on the X. That's what the guys will say. That's what they're going to say. Oh, this Cyberpunk 2077 looks better on the X. So they won't give it that treatment. Only Sony exclusives get that treatment. Not even Nintendo, even though their games run at 360p.
Oh, bro, do y'all remember how long they ran with fucking Red Dead 2 until the PC port got announced? Oh my god! You say this is the best game on console. Now that it's on PC, well, we've been experiencing this for a long. I'm like, dumbass. No, you have not. They're about to go to a new level with PC. That's why people are waiting for it. There's not going to be no issues.
Exactly.
And if there is issues, which you fail to realize with the PC community, they like to fix it themselves with mods, proper mods. You guys remember that Fast and the Furious shit that I was playing with you guys on the RGT podcast? That was all a mod where they legit recreated the scene from Tokyo Drift. That shit, and made that insane setup. So
well, a lot of people had already had Grand Theft Auto 5 and they modded it to be Red Dead. So
which is going to be, and that's one reason I would get PS Now is just to kind of go back and play Grand Theft Auto 5, because that I haven't played that game. I beat it on I beat it twice, and to me it's still a fun game. You know, it's still a very fun game.
The good thing about Grand Theft Auto 5, right, is they made a complete story. It was a full game without having multiplayer. Matter of fact, the multiplayer came later.
Yeah.
So they know they gave you a large amount of content in the single player to tide you over into the multiplayer game. And so with that logic, right, everybody was okay with that. Nobody whined. But when you look at The Last of Us 2, and they're basically saying they're doing the same thing, look, we've made this massive game. It's on 2 fucking discs. That's how large the game is. That should tide you over until we're done with our multiplayer and what we're doing over on that side of the thing. But because it's Sony, guys want to fake outrage. We only know a handful of people on Twitter that in YouTube that actually was into the multiplayer like that. It's not like the masses of the gamers were into that. I literally never booted up the multiplayer for Uncharted or The Last of Us. I was in it for the story, for the single player experience.
You know what I'm shocked, which is officially dead after all the weeks and months of crying. Now this crossplay shit is now debunked and shit, and now Sony's doing it. You see, nobody's like rejoicing on the Xbox side.
But they've been doing it. I mean, that's the whole thing.
I don't get this shit. Remember, they cried about this shit for the longest. Well, why is it Sony doing? They're holding back gamers by not having this. I'm like, let me tell you something.
Okay, I can answer.
Needs it.
Microsoft actually had data that said that people were turning in their Xboxes to buy PlayStations to play Fortnite. So because these kids' friends on the bus, it would be 4 kids and 3 had PlayStations and somebody else had an Xbox. So and people were literally going to stores saying, well, do y'all have Fortnite here on PlayStation, because all his friends have PlayStation. So that's why at the executive level, I can see, I don't give a rat's ass what the fanboys and fangirls say. When you got guys at an executive level, Greenberg, Ybarra, bitching every day, it's because they had data that said, look, we got to get them to do this, because if they don't, people aren't going to buy our console because everybody's going to buy a PlayStation. So, and that's what Phil Spencer alluded to. He did an interview. He said, yeah, well, somebody may want an Xbox, whatever, if all their friends have PlayStations. it's now they don't have to go out and get a PlayStation to play the games. So, and then see Jim Ryan, the CEO, he's not like that. He's not going to say, he's like, well, look, I don't care. You have to go buy our stuff. So, and that's why
one thing they have to do,
Mhm.
right? And maybe Sony is at the point where they're like, look, Microsoft is not really competing with us anyway. We're so far ahead. We have the mind share. We control the narrative. They don't seem to care. So they're not really going to compete back with us. So their install base is so small. What harm would it do if we did allow crossplay? And I think that's what it came to. I think I think that's just kind of how it is. I think that's how that came about, because that took a big risk, right? Because the risk with that is you get lesser sales because the Xbox guys now don't feel like they have this urge to buy the PlayStation because well, now they don't, now they can just play the same games that they've been having on their Xbox, the multiplats or whatever, and they can still play with their Xbox friends, and now they don't have to go out and buy a console. But I think Sony thought about that and probably said, look, the risk or the rewards are better than the risk. The reward is we get them in with the multiplayer. Right now they get to play with their friends, but then their friends play our exclusives and tell them how great it is, and then they start thinking, and then they go out and buy it. So one way or the other, I think Sony's going to get you. Halo, Gears, and Forza is just not going to continue to cut it for the next generation. And
be that one person to say that's enough. That's all we need. They'll say quantity or no quality over quantity, and it's like, remember that was the big thing with the PS3 gen. They said this gen they look like idiots, but
it didn't work with PS3 toward the end. I just think we're at the end of the generation, so why not do it? And that's what I've been saying. I'm like, well, some of the games, like the free-to-play games, I thought are in some of the esports games, like Rocket League and all that kind of stuff. Those games to me I understand. Yeah, let that be crossplay, but to me, do something about that goddamn paywall. Why are these games on a paywall? That's a bigger scandal to me than crossplay.
It is. And you know what?
Yep.
When these guys were screaming Sony is anti this and anti that, when you brought that up, them motherfuckers got quiet and shut up and just walked in a different direction. They really don't care. It's not about what Microsoft is doing. It's about what Sony's doing. They are just anti-Sony at whatever. If anything happens with Sony, like Sean Layton leaving, right? The guy been with the company for over 30 fucking years.
Yeah.
Is this guy supposed to work till he's fucking 90 years old? Like, seriously, come on, let the guy go. Whatever happened, it happened. Let the guy go. The company's going to be okay. They got exclusives. They got console that everybody and their mama going to buy. They got The Last of Us. They got, it's PlayStation. It's a household name. It's people care. Over 100 million install base within 5-6 years. It's going to do what it do. Shout out to Thrash. Do what it do. So just but they didn't care about that. They care about, and with the Xbox community, right? It's really more about how can we one up Sony in PlayStation, or how can we drag them down? It's not about pulling Xbox up and holding Phil Spencer and Matt Booty and Satya Nadala's feet to the fire, saying we don't want this bullshit that you guys are doing. You're giving our games away for $1 that's only going to last for so long before we start getting this bullshit that you throw in here, which they're already doing it, right?
Yeah.
All the developers are making their own stores. Ubisoft is going to pull this stuff out of Game Pass. Activision is going to pull this stuff out of Game Pass. EA is going to pull this stuff out. It's just a matter of time before everybody goes. They have their own store for their content. It's happening now.
Yeah.
Sony's cutting out the middleman with GameStop.
Why sell your game for $1 when you put it in your own store and get all the proceeds?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting the Ubisoft one, definitely. I'm day one on that.
I got the trial on that, and I'm thoroughly enjoying that. But here's the thing, right? So I have EA Origin Premier, I have the Ubisoft thing, I have Blizzard for my games there, I have Steam, I have Epic. I'm losing track of all these fucking stores and all of these subscriptions and things, like my passwords. Like it's getting to the point, right? Like now I'm seeing, I'm gonna get frustrated. I'm gonna say the fuck all this. I'm not, Because then I'm gonna, let's say I get a PS Now, then I got Game Pass, then I like, come on, man, don't nickel. Like, I feel like they nickel and dime me. On top of that, you got the movies, you got the Apple Plus, you got Disney Plus, you got all these different things. We're literally gonna have 30 subscriptions.
Disney,
And even if it costs $5, right? That's still 30 damn subscriptions that you're gonna have on top of your internet bill. On top of that, people are not, they're not putting two and two together, and that's why they're saying this is a bubble. This bubble is gonna pop. It's gonna pop soon.
Disney Plus is going to be on your PlayStation. Part of the deal, the Spider-Man deal, was Sony getting. I don't know if it's going to be on View, if it's just going to be an app that you get separate. I don't know how that's going to work, but allegedly Sony has a inside now to get PlayStation. To get the Disney Plus on PlayStation. Because again, if that happens, I will get it on PlayStation because it's got the Mandalorian. It's going to have the Obi-Wan Kenobi things, or have all these Marvel movies.
I don't even care about the TV show. That's the sad part. I just want to see what the new MCU is gonna look like. Even though we got a big taste of it, pretty much with Homecoming, or not Homecoming, but Far From Home. So,
that was great. Yeah, I watched that.
That was awesome.
So that was such a good movie. Even though Zenyatta's skinny, she's cute to look at, but she's just too skinny for me.
Yeah.
So, but she,
I guess.
We're going to get flooded with all of this stuff, and I see the people revolting and saying, "The hell with it." I'm just going to go the traditional route. This stuff is too convoluted. I don't know, man. We started out this thing with just Netflix, and then Hulu, and before you know it, we got Vudu, and then we got Prime, and now the gaming market is going to have 50,000 subscriptions. Yeah.
I mean, you play Plus.
Yeah.
The world is already shit.
Yep. So I don't know, man. I see this all going bad. Even the whole streaming.
EA Access Ultra, I just like that out. Just
even a whole and think about Microsoft, they're at a disadvantage when it comes to all of this stuff anyway. Whether you stream or not, they still come back to that fundamental problem, right? Is they don't have the games that bring the people in.
Right, you can put a filter on their service because majority of the shit that you're really looking at are multiplats.
Yes, yeah,
and that's the big thing. So if EA and Ubisoft legit launch their services, when they launch, and who's to say they're not going to take their shit back and legit be aggressive with their own service? They got to make their money just as much as everybody else does.
Yeah.
So it just, I don't know, man. It's too much. People just get too caught up in these numbers because they changed their metrics. They're not even counting hardware sales anymore. They're counting growth of the subscription services.
Yeah, growth. What the hell is that?
And what I mean by growth, because I know you had asked, I knew you were going to ask this. Yeah, that's how I know, not you. But what I mean by growth is like how many people are resubscribing to the actual service, and those who are just now first time using the service. You know what I'm saying? They're going to use those metrics to share it to their shareholders. That's what they're going to use. Because remember, the console sales are not anywhere near the volume that they were hoping for at the start of this generation. And they wanted to be up there with 360 numbers, right? And beyond. They're nowhere near that. They're halfway here. And they've been out for 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the fact that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's going to make your investors very happy. When you get that kind of news, it's like, all right, guys, what the hell's going on over here?
I mean, in 5 years, we had the Xbox 360 Elite. The Xbox 360 Elite, many people can say it changed the game for Microsoft. Mm-hmm. There were so many better sales. They were doing so much better with the Xbox 360 Elite, less revering in depths, right? And then they came out with that Super Slim, which supposedly fixed the problem entirely.
Yeah, well, I had that one. And that thing was really nice. I mean, I remember I walked in the Best Buy and they had it out there on the shelf, and I'm like, wow, this is already out, and I bought, so yeah.
And then all of a sudden, look, we can't have that same success with the Xbox One X. Oh no, games either run worse or not at all on that fucking system. That's crazy.
Yep. Yeah, they didn't fix the Xbox until I guess that was 2011 when that system came out. That's when they fixed the Xbox. There was nothing wrong with it. It was super quiet, and then they had that big fat Xbox that came out in 2013, and it was loud.
And then they had the god awful VR, not VR, but the god awful VCR looking one. You know, it's supposed to look like the Xbox One. And I'm like, come on, guys, y'all really overdoing it with this.
And all we wanted was the 360 on steroids. That's all we wanted. Just give us the same type of games, the same deals, make us feel special, but just do something different. And they came out talking TV. I mean, they did. And I think they got burned in the sense that Sony knew, because they make smart TVs, Sony knew that smart TVs were going to come down in price, and Microsoft didn't. Because remember, you used to be able, back in 2014 and 15, you used to be able to get a TV that wasn't a smart TV. And you could just hook an Xbox up to it, and it would convert it to a smart TV. And Sony knew that TVs were going to start coming down in price. So yes, serious Killmonger, even Halo, it will be on PC. There's screenshots of it. It's going to be on Steam or something like that. So it's out there. You can get it on PC. So, but yeah, you used to be able to get that on reg. Because a friend of mine, when he bought his Xbox, he bought a regular TV. It was a 1080p TV, but it wasn't smart. He said, "Y'all, just hook my Xbox up to it, and I can do Hulu." And that's what he did. And, you know, he's still doing that to this day.
And yeah, that's true, Corey. That's true. Yeah, they still lost the PlayStation 3, but you can argue that if you wanted to compare like Microsoft from then to now, that was a different Microsoft. Microsoft was aggressive.
Yeah, that was the Steve Ballmer. That was the one that he didn't mind throwing money at whatever problems they had. You know, look at the three. You know, I mean, people don't realize last generation, right? Sony screwed up. They launched a year later. Then so Xbox had a year head start. They launched. They didn't have Rumble in the controller, so that was one against them. They launched. They have very limited lineup. They launched. They was $200 to $300 more expensive than the Xbox 360. Now, on the flip side, right? Microsoft didn't really take such a big advantage of that because they had the red ring of death for 2 years that they had to fend off. And then on top of that, by the time they caught up with the red ring of death, Sony had already caught its stride, started releasing games like, you know, Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3, and some of the other bigger games that they had, you know, whatever the games that you guys find near and dear your heart for the PS3. And by that time, Sony was coming back. And they just never really stopped. They kept pumping out the content, giving people what they love. They tried the whole 3D stuff. And they lowered the price. It just became a more marketable product. And then Xbox came out with 360. That kind of helped them over the last 2 years. But after that, they never made anything else. They never really released any good content after that. While Sony with the PS3 was launching games like, you know, Gran Turismo 6 and The Last of Us 1. So last generation at the tail end, Microsoft really didn't do shit, and that kind of extended over into what we know as the Xbox One.
Yeah, well, I can tell you now. Yeah, Uncharted 2. When I saw that demoed at E3, I was watching the Sony E3. And that was the first Sony game I actually saw where when I had my Xbox 360, I said, damn, I really do wish that game was on Xbox. That and Metal Gear, Guns of the Patriots or something like that. I saw that at a friend of mine's house. I'm like, Jesus, this is like a movie, you know, watching that game.
Hey, good looking movie.
Yeah, I was like, I couldn't believe it. He had a big old like 55-inch Hitachi, you know, TV back in the day. I think it was 720p, or he had a 1080p Hitachi TV. It was I'm like, damn, this is like a movie, you know.
I wish Sony would go back to their roots and have certain things come back. Like, you remember that gunmetal PS4 that Metal Gear Solid 4, or Metal Gear Solid 4 launched with? I would like to see shit like that. You know, obviously I do want to see more of like the transparent designs for limited editions.
Yeah.
You know, I want to see more shit like that. Like that sells. That type of shit is just cool to look at.
Hey, listen, that is, I mean, that's a huge asset that Sony had this generation. I think that's going to continue. That means getting those third-party marketing deals, partnering with them, and getting those Steam consoles. Those shit sell like hot. You can say, hey, it's just a sticker all you want, but I got that Death Stranding system. I got that God of War, that Spider-Man, Kingdom Hearts, and all the other ones that came out. I bought them all, and a lot of other people bought them all too.
Yeah.
So you unboxing that Death Stranding?
Yes, sir.
So you think it's a baby in the controller? Because Craig thinks the baby's in the controller.
Well, they did say that the baby will speak to you through that controller. So
Well, that was his cry. Wasn't it?
well, yeah, you have to kind of shake it and cradle it and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't said why yet, but yeah, they're going back.
We'll find out. That's kind of a big part of the lore is you gotta find out. And by the way, while I got this up, Death Stranding, they will they're 1 week out for that 8 days out from that release date of that game. They're going to do the allow the Metacritic scores and the reviews to go up.
Wow.
And this is the first time that Sony's did that since God of War. That means they knew that this game was so good, which they did with God of War, right? That they could let people play it a whole week to 2 weeks earlier and not have a fear of it being a bad thing. And so Sony hasn't really done that with any of their games ever since. Most of them have always been that launch day or the day before. For their reasons, sometimes very good reasons.
You remember
now with Death Stranding, they're gonna allow them to have this game over a week early to get their review out, and that speaks volume. That speaks confidence. That means that they think this thing is going to do what they think it's going to do.
You remember those petty complaints for God of War? Oh, he can't jump. I'm like, listen, this is a new fucking retelling of the fucking character. Are we really doing this shit right now? And then we go from that to puddles, for fuck's sakes.
Yep. And then it was something else. I forgot what they said. And then now The Last of Us with the whole multiplayer thing. So this is how you can gauge Sony games are going to knock it out the park by the amount of fake outrage that mostly Xbox guys throw in there, because most PC guys don't really care. Nintendo guys don't care. Yeah, so you can tell if a game going to knock it out the park. Sony game going to knock it out the park by the amount of outrage that they have. And this is one of those games. It's been huge outrage. So I clearly expect a 96, 97 Metacritic for this game.
Wow. When's the game coming out again? Is it
November the 8th?
That's crazy, because I remember Until Dawn got praised, right? But they said it was a cheesy horror film, and then Detroit comes out and does none of that and does his own thing and just gives you an amazing story. And dudes didn't want to grade on the story. They just said, well, it's a walking simulator. I'm like, listen, do y'all even play fucking games?
That goes back to a lot of guys, right? Is a lot of guys just don't play games, or they're just shoehorned into shooters, right? You take all these guys who only play Madden, Call of Duty, or 2K, or Battlefield, and giving them a game that makes them think and care. Like, that is totally an oxymoron to what they've been used to having. So that's the wrong demographics of those games. Those guys shouldn't be reviewing shit. Those are the guys that every game that comes up, they say trash automatically on Twitter and YouTube. Oh, trash. It's trash. Even though they never played, that's trash. Yeah. You're the guy I'm talking about. You're the guy that, you don't play no games. You only play 1 or 2 games and that's it. So your opinion, nobody cares. We need more people who play multiple consoles and play a different variety of games. Like people play Persona. People play Zelda. People play games like Detroit Become Human, Horizon Zero Dawn, maybe Call of Duty here, maybe a shooter there, but not just all they do is shooters. And that's kind of what you get.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It is. Like I said, I put the circle of life of the bot, which is Sony announces game, they say won't be out for 2 to 3 years. Demo of the game is shown, it's been downgraded. Then gameplay is shown. It's a better, because didn't D-Back say that the Last of Us part, that one they showed at E3, that was on the PS5.
Yeah.
He
did CGI. Then he said that had to be PS5. But we know
games props.
My brother's credibility is always in the question. So
he has none. I mean, something about the question. He ain't got no credibility. What are you talking about?
I never understood.
One thing that this generation has taught me, and it kind of helped me open up my eyes as a gamer, is it had me to open up and try games that before I wouldn't have even looked that way.
Mhm.
Like a game like, for example, Persona 5, I would have never looked that way if it wasn't for some friends, trying to getting me to try it out. And I tried it out. It's an excellent game. It deserves all the praises.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to work my way up with the whole Bloodborne and Dark Souls type games. I'm not the guy that likes to like. I don't play a game to frustrate myself where I jump out of the chair on top of my head. You know what I'm saying? I'm not that guy. I'll turn that shit off and never play it again, which is what I did with Bloodborne. Again, some games for me, some games not. But you have to try a different variety of games, and you might not care for what Death Stranding is trying to do. Might not care about those story type games, but you may never know. It's just like a movie. You may one day just be sitting there watching TV, and you may find it's kind of like Lifetime, right? No man really likes Lifetime, but you sit there with your wife, and after 5 minutes before you know it, 10 hours done passed. You don't watch about 10 Lifetime movies. You just got sucked.
Facts. Facts.
So that's you give stuff a try. Don't be shoehorned into the 2K, the Madden, or the shooter, or the fighter type thing. Try a different variety of games. And if you're an Xbox guy and all you play is, like most of you guys only play Halo, Gears, and Forza, try something new. You just never know. Go buy your used PS4, go buy your Nintendo Switch, something to try something different, and you'll find out that your gaming habits and your notch is going to go up a little bit higher than where you are.
Facts. I never played a Dark Souls type game until this gen with Bloodborne. I was never into the series.
Yeah, I just don't understand. What are you supposed to do? I mean, I was walking around hitting the square.
It's kind of like you exploring, I guess you can say. Like there's like optional bosses and there's like lore and shit that you can discover in the world. And if you're smart enough, you're really in tune in the world, you'll tend to find out clues, and you'll find like secret bosses that can, lead to cooler shit. It's a lot to Bloodborne that I actually was blown away by, and I didn't think it was going to be that good. But I ended up loving it.
Yeah. Kingdom Hearts, Dragon Quest Heroes and Dragon Quest games. I've grown fond of, and this generation was the first time me trying those games.
Is that the game with the blue snot?
Yeah, that's he said a blue snot.
I
think of it as a blue chocolate drop, a blue Hershey's Kisses.
Yeah, it looks like a blue Hershey Kiss. Yeah,
there you go.
It looks like with eyes. I'm like, I can't play this. It's got snot. But I'm not gonna knock it. I mean, shout out to a Savage Juker here. He loves Dragon Quest, but they gotta find a dragon because it's like their 11th quest. It's like they gotta, I mean, they gotta find this damn dragon.
Exactly. Shout out to Jamil Dixon. Said, I hope we can end this console war next gen. Listen, okay, so we've always had, since the beginning of gaming, there's always been a console war, right? They always had Pong, and then they had a different iteration of Pong, and then they had, moved up to Tetris. There's different variety. There's always been a console war. This has just kind of really only been the generation that really had a complete fan base to melt out and cry and whine at every end. And this is the first generation where the gap has been so huge. Even last generation, right? When 360 was winning, and we had to fall back to make that equal footing. You still have the diehard PlayStation guys that was there. And you had, the Xbox guys that were there, and that kind of leaked over, right? In this generation, it was just from day one, it just took off, and Sony, the PS4 just kind of left Xbox in the dust, and it got so bad that the corporation changed this whole strategy, this whole definition of gaming. They turned it into a service. They say they don't care about the hardware anymore. We don't care where you play. We just want you to play. They pushing you to the piece. This is the first time in history we've ever seen this shit happen. And man, I don't know. I'm dumbfounded, but I think next generation that gap is going to get even wider because now there's even less of a reason to spend money on a Scarlet. And then the mere fact that we know that Microsoft shopped Halo and Gears over to Sony at one point in time in the past, that shows you where their heart lies, right? They're not in it for the long haul. They don't care. They just shoehorned it into the service to leverage their their services and stuff to make it look good for the shareholders. But I don't think Microsoft cares one way or the other. They'll lie and tell you they do, but it's such a small portion of what they what kind of revenue they pull in. We're talking about the world's richest company.
I thought that was Apple.
Well, it goes back and forth between Microsoft and and
No,
then you talk about market share, and then if you talk about so it's different variety of ways that you can look at the world's richest company.
Hey Jay, I meant to ask you, are you trying out Stadia?
Yes, sir. Day one adopter.
Oh, so you are. Get it. So you bought it.
And I do believe in that, right? Because it's Google, and they kind of really have nothing to lose. They have our data anyway. They have, I mean, what's the worst? The worst, they end up like Xbox, right? A bunch of multiplats. All right, so sue me.
Yeah.
Right? They had that, $129, you have nothing to lose. With that, you get a Google Chrome stick, which costs $50 at the store anyway. You got a $50, $60 controller, which costs $60 at the store anyway. You don't really have to pay any money for a service.
Are you doing like performance?
Actually free. The service is actually free for your 1080p gaming, but if you want to go to 4K and with the free games and some of the free stuff that they're giving you, then that's what you pay your $9 a month for. But I'm thoroughly there. Day one, I can't wait. I hope it works the way it's planned. I was part of the Google Stream thing that they did with Assassin's Creed. It worked. I played it on my Mac in the browser. I'm not going to say that's where I'm going to be dedicating all my time, but I can see instead of me spending $500-$600 on Scarlet, hey, I spent $129, got me a Google Stadia. So when I travel, I can play my games, whether it's in 4K or 1080p. And what am I going to lose? Halo, Gears, and Forza. Guess what? I got a PC for that.
So you're gonna do a performance test? You're gonna test out like
I'm definitely going to.
Yeah.
But day one, I'm there, man. I'm open-minded to all new stuff, right? But what I'm closed-minded about, I do not want Sony to follows Microsoft's path to the race to the bottom. I don't want that. They need to keep their motto, right? Like, and I'm glad that Sean Layton and Jim Ryan has said that lately. They've been talking about, look, our games that's non-negotiable. Our exclusives, all that stuff is non-negotiable. We're not negotiating on that. But what we want to do is leverage our PS Now, which we've been having for eons anyway. We do want to beef it up and make it a little bit more attractive to other people. We can just keep paying for this shit and nobody's using it. We got to do something with it. So they squashed my fears that I had. And so I'm okay with that motto that they have, and they're just going to expand this. It's an option. As long as they don't start forcing me down that way, I'm good. If games start, even if games today, right, start going day and date on PS Now, I got to look at it. The games are not downloadable on PC. You still have to stream. Games only stream in 720p, 30 frames at max. It's still laggy and buggy, and it's still a subpar way to play. So I'm still going to play on console anyway, right? Because it's the only way that you can actually play the proper way. So it doesn't do anything for me. I don't feel like they're watering down their IP or they're giving anything away by doing that. If a PC gamer, Xbox gamer, or Nintendo gamer want to play streamed at 720p, without being able to download and stuff like that, then hey, have at it. You can experience some greatness too. Go ahead.
Yeah. Latency's still a problem too. You saw the camera.
It is. It's just like Phil Spencer said with xCloud. We're gonna ship that. No, would you ship that? No. Just shit is gonna take time. It's not ready now. This is why stuff is in beta and stuff. And 5 years later, PS Now is still for the most part trash.
Yep.
Just because they add God of War and a couple other year-old, 2, 3, 4, 5-year-old games in there doesn't make it any less of a trash.
Yeah.
It's a great point.
Inside Xbox's like review for the podcast, I was like, bro, you notice how we didn't see an xCloud demo this time around?
Oh yeah.
They're ready for this shit.
Yeah, and then think about it, right? So that's why I say I'm all in for Google Stadia, because if it's one person that could succeed with that, it would be Google. They have the most servers spread all over the world. They have the bandwidth. They have, this is Google we're talking about. They own all our data. They have all our data, all our Gmail accounts, YouTube, Hangouts. They have the ability to do all of this stuff. So when it comes to gaming, they out of anybody would be the one to be able to succeed with that. On top of that, they're coming out with exclusives, something that Microsoft don't have. So that's a one up for them. Yeah.
And they got 10.2 T-flops. Yeah, the console war ended in 15. Whenever Phil Spencer said we're going to put games on PC, that's when it ended. But you guys got to understand in the chat, when you have a group of people who actually are getting money and donations off of it, they don't care. Logic goes out the window because they got to find a way to make money.
Yeah.
You know, so and now that they found what they call, I guess they would call it a hustle, they're going to keep it up. I mean, to me, it's just you got to not listen to them. You know, say, look, I'm not going to go on those podcasts. There are some good Xbox podcasts. Like I said, I like the Basement Arcade Radio podcast. That's a good podcast. Now, sometimes sometimes that cast gets a little bit buttery. Okay, they got that bit a little buttery over there, a little sometimes. But overall, that's a good podcast. So,
shout out to Enrique Brown.
Shout out
to him. I rock out with them sometime.
Yeah.
Lords is definitely funny as shit too.
Yeah, I mean it's entertaining. And I'm going to listen to his podcast, and then of course, Big Cloud's favorite YouTuber. He had a podcast today saying flat out, and I couldn't believe what he said. And I'm just going to quote him. "Quote: I'm not going to get a Scarlet." And I can't believe that this guy was actually saying that. So I have to see what happens. I mean, I'm not going to hold my breath, but
we'll see when that console reveal. You know how people are. There's one thing you know is this generation, a lot of people love to flip flop. So we'll see how that Scarlet looks. If Scarlet has the power advantage, we'll see how quickly that content goes right back to fuckery. So
well, I mean, again, it doesn't. That's the thing with Navi is that it doesn't matter about your power. It's about how you're going to implement it. So if Madden is 4K native 60 right now on Xbox X, and which it is, and then it's 4K 60 on PlayStation 5, whatever they're going to call it. They may call it PS5. There's no difference there. There's nothing that's going to. I mean, it's just, now the question is, will it be crossplay? Because that's the big game everybody's waiting for. They're waiting on FIFA, and they're waiting on EA to pull the trigger on crossplay, which they may not do because most of their sales, because they have deals with Microsoft and Sony. They have Microsoft with Madden, but they're going to lose money. They do crossplay on Madden, but we have to wait and see. They may still do it anyway. But it's just not going to make a difference. Both will have ray tracing. Well, I take that back. We know from Sony they're going to have hardware-based ray tracing. But now we got to wait on Microsoft because now I just saw that horrible thing again, and that was trash. That reveal, So I'm like, all right, well, we're going to have to see a little bit more. So, but yeah, they're going to both do pretty much the same thing. So it will be a content war. Who's going to have the better games? And even like I said, one of your good friends today was saying if it's a content thing, Sony's going to destroy Microsoft because they got all the content. That's coming from this guy's mouth. I mean, I'm not putting words in their mouth. I was shocked what I was listening to. So, I'm shocked. That. So
I don't know how you can last, man. I don't know how you do it. I can't. All right, like guys, I can't listen. I can't listen to it.
No, I understand.
Some people can, and again, some of you guys can handle it. I can't.
So yeah.
Like some people I just can't listen to. Like for example, Hebot can't listen to. I can't.
Oh, and I don't blame that. I don't blame
that. Man did a full video telling us of God of War is you can't play God of War. Like what the fuck you telling me? You can't play God of War. So it's literally that part with Baldur Kratos.
Yeah.
Where Baldur shows up to the house and he knocks you across the ring and you fight him. And you start doing that set piece with the punching the shit and all that.
Yeah.
He says, "Oh, I can't move, guys. It's all the in scene." I'm like,
oh my god,
are we really doing this type of shit now?
See, here's the thing, man. Here's the thing that you got. This is what you call guys that are mentally they're unstable. This generation has mentally pardon me, Craig, but mentally fucked so many guys this generation. It really has. I met some great people in this whole great console war and stuff like that. But some guys, oh man, they're off their rocker. You wouldn't think grown ass men could like be like that. You hate this company and this console so bad that you have to stoop to that. Like everybody's listen, over 13, 14 million people done play God of War. They all know you lying. Come on, man. We all know you lying. Your favorite Xbox guy done played fucking God of War. Ain't nobody stupid.
Yeah. He's somebody. That's somebody's grandfather. Could y'all imagine y'all grandfather doing some shit like this? I mean, like, come on, bro. Like your grandfather's supposed to be the wise and super mature one. It's like I seen this. I've been through a lot of shit. Nah, this motherfucker. He collecting toys and talking about God of War.
God of War surprised me. I thought, okay, I'll play it. It is, and I just like actually. It was really cool, the lore and stuff they used. But I thought Detroit for me personally was my game of the year. People are like, well, what about Spider-Man? What about that? No, I thought Detroit, the story of Detroit spoke to me more than Spider-Man story and God of War story. But I understand what the God of War thing is. Like if you have a son, that was about, a coming of age and being there for your son. I get it. I mean, there was a whole lot of theme in that too. So I totally respect the fact people thought that should have been a game of the year. So so it didn't shock me. But I thought when Detroit didn't even get nominated, so I'm like, damn, it got snubbed. Yeah, but I didn't go around making a crybaby video. Man, Detroit should have won. Man, that's to me Xbox.
It's crazy. You don't see Sony dudes going to this stream. If you would say JTAG goes to stream, he don't go to that stream, but he'll joke around. But the way motherfuckers like dissect these PlayStation games, I have yet to see a PlayStation dude do shit like that for Xbox.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you why, right? This is the thing, right? Is most of these guys, this is life to them, right? It's all fun and jokes to me. I mean, obviously you guys know that. I game on everything and I'll bullshit around. It's all for jokes. It's all fun.
All memes and dudes take it serious. Dudes take it serious. I laugh.
With what I said when it stings somebody because by their reply, I can tell how deep it hurt them in their soul. I can tell, and that's why when I tweet certain things and I say certain things, it's to affect those people because I want them to sting so bad to let them know that look, this is fucking video games, man. What are you doing? Why is your heart so invest in a L? Think about it, man. I'm not gonna lie, man. We all own and bought Xbox this generation. Xbox was the L this generation. It is what it is. Call it what it is and move on. If you want to be part of a winning team, go out, spend $200, get you a PlayStation, and call yourself a winner. Feel better about yourself. Don't sit there and feel like you have to stay with Xbox and deal with low-rated games and only having 3 games, Halo, Gears, and Forza every other year or something like that. Like you don't have to be abused like an abused wife. I don't get that.
Wow.
I don't get it.
Yeah. And another thing, and I didn't realize this, and this guy was right. And I don't know if you, let me ask you two. Do you all count Ori and the Will of the Wisp? Would you count that as a AAA game?
No, it's not a AAA. It's an indie. I mean, think about it. Look how it looks. It
looks really good, but it's kind of like on par with Resogun. Remember how well that looked?
Yeah, it's
all right. So this guy's right. Microsoft is not going to have any AAA games till Halo, not unless there's a surprise. I mean, we can just be to maybe caveat my statement saying Microsoft could throw a surprise up there at E3. Something like that. Okay, fair enough. But they have nothing announced. So, whereas in the meantime, if you're in the PlayStation ecosystem or even in the Nintendo ecosystem, you got the Death Stranding coming out in a couple of weeks. I mean, that's today's
Concrete Genie come out today.
Concrete Genie, then Death Stranding. Then you wait 90 days, you get The Last of Us. Like it is 90 days after Death Stranding. And then you wait, 3 weeks after Last of Us, you get
Final Fantasy 7 exclusive.
In about 6 weeks, you get the show.
Yeah.
So in 100 days, roughly,
and Ghost of Tsushima is supposed to be coming early summer. We're talking about May to June time frame. So
yeah, so you have, I mean, shout out to Porter Rock. Like he said last year when Spider-Man came out, everybody was mad as hell. We're gonna be in the glory of Spider-Man, and they don't have anything. So if you think the orneriness and the hate and the bullshit and the fuck shit and all the stuff that they have said, let me make this clear. This is stuff they have said. If you think it's crazy now, wait till all that comes in. I mean, they're going to go crazy. They're going to go epic. And of course, J-Dub's going to tweet something that's going to send them off the edge.
You knew it. You knew it.
So yeah, it's going to go crazy.
We talked about this numerous times. Remember how that whole Our Blacks at Xbox bullshit?
Yeah.
You would think with that bullshit they were doing, that supposed initiative they were doing, that Black Panther would be a priority to become a game for Xbox. Remember, they came out with a limited edition console for the fucking movie.
Yep, yeah. I remember that. They made like
shit. It was a movie, not the game, a movie. So why isn't that type of treatment being put into a deal with Marvel? Remember, this is the whole thing with Spider-Man is Spider-Man. But I'm like, there's so many more characters you should be going after. Why not Captain America? Do something
because it does not fit on the Game Pass. It does not fit in the Game Pass structure that they have. You got to remember, Game Pass is their now and their future. That's what it is. It's their now and their future. And so if they don't buy or they don't get into any deals that does not fit properly on Game Pass as they want it, which mostly is going to be multiplayer games, smaller, lighter, cheaper games. They're just not willing to invest a lot of time and money. Phil Spencer said his goal was to be able to launch 4 games a year, 1 a quarter. Instead of having this year we had Crackdown, Gears 5, 2 games this year.
And we don't want to talk about Crackdown.
That game was trash. My PC uninstalled that on its own. I didn't know PCs could do that.
Oh shit.
I didn't know how. I didn't know what happened. I woke up and it had a message. When I turned it on, it was like, man, get this dog shit up off of here. I got time for this. But no, I just think that you are going to see some breakdowns. I mean, you're going to see some mental breakdowns when these games start coming out. And there's people breaking what you were saying, J-Dub, as far as the Metacritic score. So White Zaddy must gonna love this game.
Oh yeah. Hey, anytime Xbox dudes rail against a game, that's when you know it's gonna be a mega hit. So I'm fully expecting Days Gone to get 95, 96, maybe 97 Metacritic.
The mighty have fallen. I remember how everybody was. You remember the start of the generation and how they were cooning for fucking Titanfall?
Yeah.
The game?
Yeah.
And then just as soon as Titanfall was confirmed, not even have a story, it was all multiplayer. It's just like shit just went downhill. Yeah. You could never get a W.
You know what? I blame that. Let me tell you this, right?
While
I blame Microsoft wholeheartedly for that, a lot of the blame has to go to the Xbox community too, because they just did not support their games. I'm not saying buy some dog shit.
Right.
Those games weren't dog shit. They were just budgets. They were mediocre games, but in the beginning of a generation, that they all claim we had the better games in the beginning for the first 3 years. Okay, well, why did you not get any sequel for any of these games? Because you didn't go out and support these games. It's simple.
Yeah,
Microsoft, you can't keep asking Phil Spencer and Satya Nadella to keep funding multiple $1 million games if you're not going to buy them. If all you do is hype them up on Twitter and YouTube, but then when they launch, you don't buy them. We saw that list, and I keep saying again, Halo, Gears, and Forza. Out of the top 10, you had like 6 or 7 Forzas. Then you had Halo, and then the Master Chief Collection, and then you had Gears 4, and like Halo, Gears, and Forza. So out of all those other games that they did offer you, Sunset Overdrive wasn't that bad of a game. Rise wasn't that bad of a game.
Dead Rising wasn't
that bad of a game.
I like game? Dead Rising? That was a zombie game, right?
That was the launch zombie game. That was their counter supposedly to what was it? And what was that shit called? It was that superhero game from Sucker Punch.
Infamous.
Yeah.
So while I do blame Microsoft because those games were mediocre at best, but they weren't trash. They to a lot of respects they were better than some of the offerings that PlayStation had. But guess what? PlayStation guys came out.
Because remember, PlayStation 3 had Resistance.
Yeah, it's so crazy, right? That we got a sequel for NAC, but we couldn't get a sequel for Sunset Overdrive 2. We can get a sequel, and that is really sad that PlayStation guys will get a Sunset Overdrive 2.
Maybe.
Yeah, but in all essence, right? Sony bought them, and they own the IP.
I agree. I agree. It's gonna happen, but I don't want to pull up Matt's Gaming and start speculating.
I'm trying to, I doubt it's gonna happen, but I'm trying to prove a point. That is just really sad that this generation has went down like that. Like, man, these guys really gave up. They really did not invest for 3 whole years after that, right? After launch, they really just didn't do anything. And now they're trying to reel back from that. But by that time, right, Sony's already cranking out their bangers. They're good. They can't go wrong right now. They're worse, right? The worst game of this generation for Sony so far, within the last 3, 4, or 5 years, is like Days Gone, which most people tell you is an excellent fucking game.
Yeah, I think
the only reason it got a 70-something was because they let it come out before it was patched. But after the patch, everybody would say it's a solid 85, 86 Metacritic. Okay, cool. If the worst that they can put out is a Concrete Genie, which is a great fucking game for $30 at 77 Metacritic, but that's still higher than your big mega triple A Sea of Thieves, K2, Crackdown 3 that took fucking 10 years to make with the cloud power. Like, what are we doing here? Then you launched the Xbox One X, the world's most powerful console, with PUBG running at 11 frames a second. That's crazy. It's
I PUBG. If anybody wants to play on Xbox, I got a code.
I touched the game, but that shit dead.
Is it really? I thought it was like a big deal.
People moved on, man.
Died.
Now
you don't hear people playing that shit. You know what sad part is? It ran better on mobile.
It did.
That's the sad part and the most heartbreaking. It ran better on a fucking mobile phone.
What did Ori? Did it say Ori and the Blind Forest?
Ori 2 runs better on the Switch.
Ori,
they said that Xbox games on Switch run better than Xbox games on Xbox.
Wow.
Their words, not mine.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't at me. Is that what people say? Hey, this is what they say. Don't talk to me. That's what they say. Hey, talk to Zaddy. Zaddy tell me.
Shit, they go, well, I mean, at least people get to play it. Where's Sony doing? Sony's being stingy. I'm like,
I don't know. Yeah, they don't know what it's like to win. I think it's generational. There's a generation of people that never learned how to lose. They got trophies they had trophies for showing up.
No, you're wrong, Craig. It's not that they don't know how to lose; they just don't know how to win.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
Goalpost has been moved.
They know how to lose. They lose month after month after month. So
yeah, yeah. They say sales don't matter, but how come we don't get sequels? Well, you didn't buy the game, therefore there's no interest in a sequel. You can't. I mean, you can't sit up there and say the game didn't sell. Sales don't matter. Where's my sequel?
Yeah. By the way, Craig, I don't know if I told you earlier, but Blue Point and EA are working on PS5 exclusive games.
They and who?
EA.
Yeah, I knew EA. Blue Point. Yeah,
EA and both EA and Blue Point are working on PS5 exclusives.
For an exclusive.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should be scared or worried.
Now, listen, one thing about it, right? I don't really say what you want about Titanfall 1, right? With that exclusive. The game worked. It wasn't broken. And it was a good game for for what it was. It was a good game. Now imagine, right? The only reason that ended up because that was the direction that it seems like what Microsoft was trying to do, what they were looking for. Now imagine with Sony's leadership and what they look for and what they say and they curate, right? Sony just don't really put out trash like that, just generation. After the first couple of years, obviously. But they're in their stride right now. They're in their stride. They know what they want. They know what their fans want, and they want to give it to them. And they consistently crank out quality exclusive. And it's that quality I want to stress, right? Anybody can put out games, but the quality Microsoft put out games, they're just trash. They don't have the quality control. Whereas Sony will be like, nah, man, you got to go back to the drawing board with that. Yoshida said he made God of Corey Balrog said that Yoshida made them go back to the drawing board on God of War.
Yeah.
After about a year in of making stuff, he looked at it and said, nah, it's not gonna work. Give me something else. And they had to start over. And that's how they ended up getting to where they got. But greatness requires being curated, and it requires a control. No way in the world that Crackdown, I'm not gonna lie, man, Crackdown should have been canceled a long time ago. Sunset Overdrive, State of Decay 2 should have been delayed, or not canned, but delayed and fixed. It came out, people falling through floor. It was just buggy as shit. And
Decay 2 needed like a dying light treatment, like something new, refreshing.
It does. They lied. The developer lied, said it was getting a AAA treatment all the way, and it didn't. It got the same indie. And I thought, I was such a big fan of the first one. I thought all they had to do was make a multiplayer, let me play with my friends, and we could set up camp and have neighborhood versus neighborhood. But no, they didn't do it that way, and it ended up dying a fiery death. Sea of Thieves didn't come with the content. The Kraken was lacking. It just didn't do it for anybody. And once people leave, it's hard to get them to go back. So I
watched that Zaire video a couple of days ago when that noodle looking thing was in the water, and I still was rolling over that. He was like, "This thing is terrorizing the high seas."
Yeah. Hey, that was the camel that broke the straw's back.
The camel that broke his back was Age of Empires. Remember that?
Yeah, that was bad.
When they ended up making games exclusive for PC and not Xbox, that was a writing on the wall.
Yeah. Gears Pop and shit.
Yeah, Gears Pop. And then now Phil Spencer talking about he chose Flight Simulator over Fable. He chose Flight Simulator.
Like they're still making Fable, right?
No. At E3, he said it was a toss-up which one to show, which game to select, and he chose Flight Simulator. I'm like, dude, you got guys on Twitter every day begging you for another Fable, and you said, you know what? I know you're begging for it. Fuck you. I'm gonna show something else. Like that shows being out of touch so bad.
You know why he did that though, right? The real reason, right? Remember how they partnered? They were just partnered by Razer, and Razer specializes in certain controllers and mouse and shit. I guarantee they did it to sell those flight controllers. You know what I'm talking about, with the little
Yeah, I have. I have flight simulators and stuff like that. Side tech is always the best way to go for me. I wouldn't buy anything from Razer.
You buy Razer?
Yeah.
Yeah, Razer
not a flight stick.
Keyboard, right? They made Microsoft's keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, now if they're talking about for console, then maybe, but the Flight Simulator is not for console guys. That's always mostly been a PC thing. And if you're an Xbox guy and you say you're hyped for Flight Simulator, stop lying to you. So you're not. Stop lying. Nobody wants to play Flight Simulator on fucking Xbox.
They're not playing these games.
Shooter box. You've been shoehorned into Racer, Halo, Gears, and Forza. So stop it.
Yeah, they were like in combat. I'm like, dude, I got Falcon 4.0 BMS. I'm pretty sure I've got the top benchmark, and this BMS means benchmark simulator. So I have the top benchmarking simulator. People have seen me trying to land that plane. I tried to land that plane, and my plane my stick went dead. So I had to land a dead stick plane. And people are like, well, you did that on purpose. No, the plane malfunctioned. It's a simulator. The plane malfunctioned. Yeah, I landed it. Yeah, I landed that plane. I was pissed. But I got it down. I mean, I got it on the ground, and but I was pissed. But it was a dead stick landing. I mean, I had to go through the protocols. I had to, glide it in. Basically, I was able to get it to glide in, and I landed. I was going about 79 miles per hour, but I got it on the ground. So barely, but I got it there. It was a safe landing. I remember doing that shit. People were laughing at me. I'm like, this is not funny, man. My plane died, 8,000 feet up. Had to declare an emergency and everything. But yeah, I agree. Simulators, especially flight sims, that's for PC. Elite Dangerous is fun though. I mean, I'll be going out there still blowing the hell out of people in Elite Dangerous. So, but yeah, they don't play that on Xbox. All they say is that was in 4K on the Xbox.
Man, 4K solitaire coming.
Yeah, they love that. Oh, it's in 4K. I'm like, okay, so what? The sun looks a little bit oranger. I don't know what to say about this. The flares coming from the sun like a little more clean versus a checkerboarded sun. Come on, guys. I don't want to get close enough to a sun to even see it. In Elite Dangerous, your ship will fry. So, but they're retarded.
Them PR words, man, they fall for them.
Yeah, but they just need something to play. I think that's what. But guys, I think it's going to get worse because of another major hit coming in a couple weeks or in a month. I guess today's the 8th. Yeah, so you're a month away from that, and then you're 90. I mean, it's hard to believe you're 90 days. When you get Death Stranding, you're roughly 90 days, give or take, from The Last of Us.
Yeah. And that event that Sony's having for the PS5 unveil. So listen, the last 3 months, I mean, these next 90 days, man, it's going to be really hard for an Xbox guy. I'm not going to lie, because there's really no games releasing. You can say Outer Worlds, it's going to be a man game, and it's a multiplayer, right? People can buy it on PlayStation, so you don't get any credit for that. But what else is there, right? You don't have any other game. You got Bleeding Edge, and you got Battletoads. And those games are going to be going against The Last of Us 2, Final Fantasy 7.
That's what they get
the perhaps the Ghost of Tsushima. On top of that, a ton of VR games like Iron Man VR, and man, it sucks.
You're all about that.
It kind of suck.
The
next AAA game that's coming out for Xbox will be Scarlet's launch. Let that sink in.
Yeah, that's bad. Not unless they surprise us at E3 and they do a stealth launch, which is awesome.
So summarize what's going on here. We still got games for PlayStation, right? Obviously, we still got games. But you mean to tell me they made all these headlines today just from a fucking controller announcement, and Microsoft still hasn't dropped anything?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
That's sad. That's just so sad.
Wait till next gen, and it's like, okay, well, they're gonna launch with Halo Infinite, right? All right, cool. They launched with that. Then what?
I've seen too many people hyping that shit up. I'm sorry. Listen, it looks good, but it's still fucking Halo. Titles.
No, here's the thing, right? The trailer that they showed at E3 didn't really show you shit. It wasn't for it to be running on a PC with next gen specs. Nothing in that video made me think that it was next gen. It looks like it could have been running on the X.
Yeah.
So, but when you look at Sony games, when you look at games like The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima and God of War and all, people, they say, man, that can't be possible. That's running on, that's CGI, or that's running on PS5. And then when you find out it's running on a Pro, or you find out it's running on a Slim, then you're dumbfounded. And so
just got rid of that from Square Enix.
Yeah.
Oh, that's running on a PC. That's not running on a PS5. I'm like, well,
guess what? They showed you to
get
your hands on it on the PS4 Pro. So
they said they've got tech demos for the PS5. That's just breaking.
They do. They got the tech demos. Yeah, they have Gran Turismo Sport running. They said at 8K, 120 frames a second. They have, and these are just demos to display, so the developers can see what they need to see as far as the transferring of data and SSDs and stuff like that. So yeah.
Wow. That'll be the talk tomorrow. I'm sure that Xbox. I mean, what got pushed to the side today was Xbox only selling 46 million consoles. That got pushed to the side today because of this other Sony news. But that tomorrow, guys, that's going to be burning up the internet. You know,
even then, maybe that's giving them too much credit. I think they still somewhere in the 30s.
Yeah. Well, this is a business site. This site.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, okay, cool. But that just again,
it's still trash.
That's damn, man. That's low because the Switch is already poised to outsell them if they haven't already outsold them within 2 years. It took them 70 years to get to where they at.
I still remember PlayStation selling 46.6 million. I remember the day. I remember reading that. I'm like, man, they're close to 50 million. Well, here's a question for us: Is do you think the SSD? I think that means solid state drive. In next gen will be 1 TB. I believe that means terabyte due to cost. It can't imagine it being 2 TB, but maybe.
No, or like we said the same thing for PS4. Yeah. We end up getting half of that, so they might continue the trend, the tradition and make you buy it separately. How these companies do. Anything to get that price down to
I think that SSD is for it's kind of using what we call a scratch disk, right? It's only for temporary data sharing or file swapping. And the bulk of your data is going to be on the disk or the traditional hard drive, which probably be a 2 terabyte hard drive with a maybe 256, maybe even 128 SSD. I don't think that you're going to be physically installing your games on the SSD because man, that it's the cost. I'm looking at the cost of SSD and think about it. It's not just any SSD. This is stuff that even the PC can't get, according to Sony. It's that.
More than likely, it's an M2 drive inside, internally. Yeah. And it's going to rely heavily on externals for games.
Yes.
I'm thinking.
Yeah. But even then, right, you still got to have a fast external to kind of help. I don't know, man. I'm kind of dumbfounded at this because they got Spider-Man to load, which would normally take 20 seconds in 0.8 seconds, so less than 1 second. So that means that transfer speed is super fast.
Was that during the game?
Yeah, that was on game, and they said it's the biggest leap in computing power. Period. So
now, Sony, our biggest computing leap is going to be bigger than what Microsoft does. Do they mean for Sony? Or
it depends, right? And so when they say that, are they saying from the Pro or from the PS4, the Slim? Big difference between 1.3, 1.86 T flops going to maybe, let's say, a 9 or 10 T flops versus 4.2 going to a 9 or 10 T flops. Two different. I think the biggest factor is going to be the speed of the hard drive, the speed of loading the games, and other factors that has nothing to do with the actual graphics. That's what I think.
Yeah,
the graphics will be in high settings for their first party game, Sony's first party game.
Yeah. I think the bottlenecks of that all that medium and low end, all that stuff is out the door. All that stuff is out the door.
For their first party, you think third party will take advantage?
First, I think third party will take advantage now because they're just going to port from the PC instead of trying to port from the console or a lower end console. Because what they would normally do, right? The masses have the lower end console, so they would make the lower end and just up res and do their checkerboarding and all that stuff to get the game to look. That's why a lot of games this generation, especially on the PS4, didn't look, when you went from the Slim to the Pro, it didn't look that drastic of a difference because they optimized that game that well. That was their base with the Pro, and I think that was hats off to Sony for doing that. They didn't want to make the guy who has an OG PS4 or Slim feel like he was playing an inferior product. When you play an MLB The Show or Gran Turismo or Concrete Genie on a Slim model, right? It looks just as good as it would if you were playing it on the Pro. You don't feel like, oh man, but if you play a game on the OG Xbox One, you're gonna notice the huge difference. Huge difference.
True. And we all think, before we close it up here, we all think about Zaddy saying that The Last of Us 2, the demo that we saw, was in 1440p on the Pro.
Don't care. that game looks far superior to anything else that's any other game that's ever been made. So who cares? Again, this is why, right? It's a lot of the Xbox guys, right, are gonna hit a brick wall. Right? They're gonna hit a brick wall because they're relying on that power. In the Switch, Nintendo Switch has been saying, "Look, the power don't matter.
Yeah,
we're outselling you. We don't matter. We're much lower than you, and it doesn't matter." But they don't listen, right? Because they're Nintendo guys. But with the PlayStation, they have to listen now because it doesn't matter. Power doesn't matter. It's about the games. I think the systems are going to be equal when it comes to power. And I think that is going to show you the disparity. Now you can't argue over power. Now the conversation has to come back to games. And that conversation is not what Xbox guys want to talk about. They want to talk about other stuff like streaming, servers, and other advantages that Microsoft may have in other sectors that has nothing to do with gaming. And that's part of the problem, right? But now you say, hey, look, why are you a gamer? They'll say, well, you know what, my friends and, the Xbox Live. When you ask Xbox guys, why are you an Xbox fan? Why did you buy Xbox instead of PlayStation? First thing they're going to say, oh, my friends. Xbox party chat, right? Well, now all of that shit can be had elsewhere. Now you can you can party chat on your phone. So now you're really taking all of their talking points that they've had, and when you ask them, why are you Xbox gamer? They really don't know at this point in time. They really don't.
That's terrible. I mean, that's all I can say. That is terrible. I mean, I can't imagine not knowing why I like something. But yeah, I agree with the part with the friends. Yeah, I mean, that's what they'll say. Well, all me and all my friends are on there. Like, please, fuck you and your friends. I mean, you ain't got no friends. If your friends are in a party chat room, they not your friends. They just some people that you party chatting with. Oh man. Oh man. All right, we've been in 2.5 hours. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. But any closing thoughts on today's yesterday's for me activities?
Get ready for the same bullshit to happen again with the reveal of the new consoles. It's gonna be a reset. Same shit.
Now, do you think some of the podcasts are going to start shutting down? Because
hardware is available. They're going to talk about the hardware, and then as they're going to beat that top of the death, right? The new hardware to death. And as soon as the games start to drop, like certain like these tech demos, obviously the first couple of games act as tech demos for the next consoles. Yeah. And then you get into the more serious ones where you realistically see these developers prioritize stuff. Because remember, a lot of people thought that a lot of developers were really going to take advantage of the light bar on the PS4 controller. Hardly anybody uses it. You know what I'm saying? Aside from like stuff like, your health, some do it, right? But not like the way they hyped it up. But one particular thing they threw on this controller that nobody's using, really the way they wanted them to, was the touchpad. The touchpad is just more of a button for them. You're not really swiping. You're not doing what you did in Infamous Second Son with the touchpad. You notice that, right? You're not doing that type of stuff in these games.
Well, yeah, in Detroit. Yeah. If you played Heavy Rain, you use it. But no, you're right. I agree with you. I agree with that.
So stuff like that, you're not going to see. You're going to see a lot of these features. They're going to pick and choose certain features, and then you're going to see which is clearly going to be the favorites, right? For example, if they have a speaker, more than likely that's still going to be a thing.
Yeah,
it's not going to be certain stuff. So that's what you're going to see. But obviously, they're going to start off with that shit first, the hardware, and then as soon as the games start dropping, they're going to start picking and choosing and say these games look better, but then they ignore whatever problems they'll say, and it's going to be pretty much the same shit all over again until big shit starts dropping and you see those massive frame rate drops and all that shit. So yeah, you're in for some shit.
So J-Dub, you got the 8K TV set up. Are you ready for GT, the new Gran Turismo?
I am ready, my brother.
About the 8K TV, damn.
Yeah,
ready.
Hey, they're going on sale, everybody. I think you'll be able to get one for about 5,100 stacks this Christmas.
Actually, $4,500 for that Samsung joint. But for the Z9G that I have now, things probably still like 8,500.
Yeah. Oh, that thing's a monster. Oh, it is gorgeous. I saw that. They've got that at Best Buy just in a demo for Sony in their Magnolia room.
Yeah.
They were playing Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
It was that scene where they were on that.
It upscales the 4K so beautifully, bro.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I was literally like, this is like watching a different movie.
Yeah.
It looked that much better on that TV.
Or do you not mess with monitors?
Oh, no, I have monitors. I have a couple of monitors. I have the CHG90 that is Samsung super ultra wide. It's a 30x9. And I also have the Asus ROG. It's their HDR 1000 monitor. So it's 4K, 144 hertz.
That's the 1 millisecond one, right? Yeah, I think.
Yeah. That's the one.
Oh, nice.
I bought that one before I bought the other one, the ultra super wide.
I want to ultra wide one.
It was like the only HDR 1000, and man, you talking about
is that response time, dude? There's no screen watch, there's no nothing. It's just
playing. Oh my god, that game is so beautiful. The colors, everything about it. That monitor's a beast, man. But it costs you.
Dude, play Bloodborne on it, and you'll thank me later. And just how amazing, man. I'm telling you.
I want an ultra wide one. What's a decent one?
Try
21:9 aspect ratio monitors. Pretty cheap, man. A couple of $100.
Okay. I'm gonna have to look at because I like that kind of stuff.
You jumping 1440p going into next gen, Craig? Or are you going 4K?
Oh no, I'm getting a 1440p monitor. Yeah,
you and Carlos doing the same thing. Yeah, I jump in 1440p.
Yeah, I want that because everything's going on sale. AMD put their 2700X, which is the 8-core AMD CPU. They put that on sale. It's $190, and it's still going down.
Yeah.
Wow!
So imagine what it's going to be on Black Friday because AMD's new the 3600, the 36 and whatever 39, whatever the hell that thing is. That's coming. That's dropping. I guess soon. According to D-Batch, it's available now. Isn't that right, Jada? I don't know if it is or not. But so yeah. But yeah, that's not bad. I can buy one for $200. I got one at Office Depot at LG. Yeah, I might be able to get that in a couple of weeks. So yeah. But all right then, guys, we're gonna wrap it up here. Like I said, the most thing that surprised me today was the 4K Blu-ray player on the PS5. That surprised me because I did not see that coming. But that was it. You guys got anything else to say?
Nah, man.
That's it, Chris.
Pretty much everything that I've been recovering, pretty much been confirmed. So you already know your boy is happy. Glad everybody's at least been informed properly. J-Dub and I have been busy, so
definitely.
Yeah, I saw you all streaming. Yeah, and thanks for you all stream. Everybody, I think Sick Humor did an early morning stream, and everything was coming out. And then Big Cloud, I saw your stream following, and then so shout out to Next Gen. I did catch up on that one. You all did yours in the afternoon. I didn't watch it till this evening. So there's plenty of them. I still have to watch. Like I said, there was a bunch of people that I watched that dropped a lot of that were shocked. I mean, you can clearly hear it in their voice. I don't know why when Lisa Su, who's now president of AMD and she's the CEO, literally said that both consoles will have ray tracing, but we're going to do a hybrid version of it because ray tracing hurts frame rates. I mean, she has said this multiple times. So I don't know how you all did not take that as one having hardware, one having software, Sony patenting the way that movies are done to be done for their ray tracing. All this came out weeks ago. Why you didn't listen to people like BitCloud, myself, people who are trying to tell you guys the truth. You guys decided to listen to who, Jack Reacher, and now you look stupid. A lot of crow.
I wouldn't even say Jack Reacher. I'd just say dude to say, hey, PlayStation's gonna have unbelievable fucking software uh, that rivals PC, and then the next week, oh, PC's better than fucking console. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. This shit sucks. Actually, it's not even next week. It's the next day. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. It's so fucking played out. The shit, I don't like that format. I don't.
Navi 10 Lite and Navi. Somebody's gonna have Navi 10. Somebody's gonna have Navi 20. Somebody's not gonna have this. It's just like, look, obviously,
this shit that clearly needs, like, like certain shit, damn well, it's just not gonna be in the console because it's gonna require liquid cooling for that type of heat. They go, no, this is gonna be. Could this be in the PS5? I'm like,
here's the thing, right?
PS5, stop.
The moment Xbox Scarlet or PS5 is a dime over, whatever the price that these guys want to pay, they're gonna scream and cry like some little girls.
I mean, there's only one person I think I'm talking about too when I say this, but there's only one person I think we both can actually name who legit would pay $600 for a console because he really likes consoles and he would pay for it if it actually did do what it was fucking advertised. And that's Jay Fonts. That's one person.
Again, guys, I mean, if you have a Pro and you're gonna, let's just say it's $599, and I'm not saying it will be. Even if it's $599 and they say it's $599 out the door, and you take your PlayStation or PlayStation Pro, and they're going to give you anywhere from $79 to $129, you're going to walk out roughly, at least in my state, I'll still be walking out at under $499. It'd be like right at $480 something. So again, you're going to have to pay the cost to be the boss.
$599. Maybe Sony could justify that price point because they got the content, but what about Microsoft?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna go on a limb here, man. I think Microsoft can afford to take a huge loss.
Yeah,
I say they price their they need to price their console at $399 because they just don't have the content. And nobody's going. No, I'm not willing to wait 3 or 4 years to see if the content ever comes, especially knowing that the content's coming from some indies and some AA studios.
Yeah,
I just don't. They have to build up that trust, in me. They have to build up that trust that I have for them to show me why I need to do that. I'm not going to do that again. I did it with the Xbox One X, right? We still waiting for Xbox One X to give it to us. You're right. Waiting for it. It was supposed to give it to us, and it never did.
So wait
again, just to play some Bleeding Edge and some some Battletoads. Like they just ain't got no games. And when I say they don't have any games, I'm not saying they don't have any games. They just don't have the games that gamers give a fuck about, and that's just what it is.
And remember, J-Dub, the Frogs have filed a complaint. So they will be DLC for Battletoads. So you will get some frogs because the frogs filed against the toads. And I saw that game. It was like straight up trash. I hope everybody, whoever gets it, I hope you have fun. I'm not gonna knock what you think is fun, but that shit look like straight up trash. I mean, dog shit. But but it's gonna be 4K. So that's all you all care about at this point. So, but all right then, guys, we're gonna wrap it up here. I'm gonna go to bed or play some Madden or something like that. So I don't know. So on my PlayStation. So but yeah. All right, guys. Hey, gentlemen, thanks for coming by. It was a big information day. So I appreciate you all coming by.
Nah, no problem. Thanks for having us.
Take it easy.
Yeah, take it easy, guys. Hey, shout out to the chat. Everybody have a good evening. And remember, play the games or the terrorists win. Peace.